On the 11th of February every year since 1966, we dey celebrate the National Youth Day for Cameroon. It been a day where the people then for Cameroons under the United Kingdom administration, they be vote for decide whether to join Nigeria or Cameroon, the two alternatives as they be call them. Today, we go focus on the actual plebiscite results and the political calculations where our forefathers they be make them and why they be make those decisions then, and the reaction after the plebiscite, especially from the people the way they be losses. We go focus on some of the petitions and those where they be want we desperately say make we join Nigeria for the plebiscite, especially the Bakweri tribe, and way it be make them want make we join Nigeria instead of Cameroon.
So time when they bring the issue for vote for plebiscite, the UN, they ask John Foncha for inside UN, say why they no get no option for independence. Now John Foncha, he talk for UN, so we not be capable for be on our own. Now why do we want to join our brother them for La Republique? Now answer that way John Foncha again for United Nations. Then ask yourself how difficult it will be for we to go convince the same United Nations say na La Republique can capture we and all those things that we be talking about now. When I ask yourself.
So that one na Capo Daniel, where your real name Nandong Emmanuel, now one of the Amazonian separatists where they don't lie about the history of the former British Southern Cameroons, where finally they can talk the truth and we welcome the truth. So it don't explain how for when I say now actually the people them for the former British Southern Cameroons they be make the assessment so they not be viable for be independent on their own, and the British they be make exactly the same assessment and the United Nations it be agree with that assessment. So that one it put the question of the third option to rest. No one on the international community it be see a third option of the viability of Southern Cameroons being independent as a sovereign nation. No one. Not even the leaders of the former British Southern Cameroons at the time. Now, we all know what will be actually happened on the 11th of February 1961. Our people for the former British Southern Cameroons be vote overwhelmingly for join French Cameroon. Now John Foncha himself, he will give una the results of what will be happen, and then we go break them down into the nitty-gritty for look into the details them who be vote for who. We go also look at some of the people the way they be want for change the result of the plebiscite, where they be want for unite with Nigeria regardless of what way it be happen. We go also look at the campaigns where it be happen before the plebiscite itself it take place. Based on that, it will give una a full picture for understand why the Bakweri tribe especially they be want for join Nigeria, and also why wait till today they make the political calculations where they make them. This thing you know start now today, it start now since in the 1950s. When I listen to John Foncha.
And so they voted massively, and in the proportion of 233,751 for the Republic of Cameroon, and only 97,741 for Nigeria. So that is democracy, because it was conducted by the United Nations. And at the end of the plebiscite, although the campaign was bigger and it was dictated that it was going to end in a bloodshed, it happened to be one of the most peaceful and orderly, respected, let's say, election we ever had.
So when I don't hear Napa John Foncha, he talk him with his own mouth. He no read the results of the plebiscite on a piece of paper. No, a day in his mind. He talk him. He say, I know this. He tell una letter by letter the exact result of the plebiscite, because it be now the biggest political victory for your career. It successfully convinced the people then for the former British Southern Cameroons for vote for join ye brothers them for French Cameroon. Now he also talks something where it be peculiar. I hope so not be miss him. It talks say the campaign for the plebiscite it be bitter, and it be even be predicted say it go end in bloodshed. Ask yourself this question. Now who be ye political opponent at the time where they be get this bitter campaign with each other? Simple answer. EML, Endeley. And now one of the campaigns in this way, Endeley be put them out, where he make him, John Gufoncha, it tell una say, the campaign was extremely bitter. Because some other tribes, them, especially the tribes where they be border with Nigeria, especially the Bakweri tribe, they be want for join Nigeria at all cost. Why? Why the Bakweri tribe they be so desperate for want for join Nigeria? The Bakweri people themselves, they go explain them for una as this presentation it progress. Una go listen, una go understand. Understanding their political calculations in the 1950s and the 1960s, it go make them better for we for understand which way it happen in our territory today, and it go give we the knowledge where we need them for predict which way if it happen in the future. So I go read for una this publication where it be being made before the 11th of February plebiscite itself, where Endeley it be the campaign say make our territory a vote for continued association with Nigeria. So the title it talks say, Endeley said we shall suffer. It say, this solemn message printed and made available to all Southern Cameroonians is eternal evidence of the full note of warning, it put the warning in capital letters, that is being sounded in good time to Cameroon's people before they make their historic choice of 11th of February. That day is a red letter day in the history of our territory. Remember this as you go to the polls. So a red letter day, it just means a day where it gets special and significant things the way they happen on that day. Day where una go forever remember them. Now red letter days them. It be very significant. And also now polls where it write POLL, it talk now about an election seeking the opinions of the people. The word poll is exactly the same word pronounced exactly the same, but it can have different meanings depending on how you spell it or the context in which you use the word. So a poll, P-O-L-E, is a person from Poland, and you can also have a pole when a slender piece of wood or metal, for example a flagpole, but the poll, P-O-L-L, is basically an election. So who's that way when they go vote, they call them say polling station. So sorry sir, I digress. I just want to make that word make it be clear. The polls, it means an election seeking the opinion of the people. So Dr. Endeley continue for talk say, the association of Southern Cameroons with Nigeria has been to the best interest of Cameroonians. The territory has advanced from a province in the eastern region to a full self-governing region with a separate House of Assembly, government and premier. A House of Chiefs has been established so that natural rulers share in the government of their country. In French Cameroons, there is no place for chiefs. There is no House of Chiefs and no provisions is made for a House of Chiefs in the Foncha and Ayijo plan. If you cast your vote in the white box, you are working for the abolition of our House of Chiefs. In the Southern Cameroons and Nigeria, political differences are settled by arguments and by the ballot box. In French Cameroons, political differences are settled by guns and poison. So remember why it talk about settling political differences with guns and poison. It talk because at that time in the 50s and 60s, Cameroon, the French part of Cameroon, it be the struggle just pre-independence with the UPC rebellion from the Douala and the Bambileke uprising, so the Maquisards them. So they beget a terrorist situation happening in French Cameroon at that time. Now one of the things in that way, if the talk can say it is so, made a vote for join Nigeria instead because they could get more peace and stability inside Nigeria. The funniest thing I say, by 1965, the opposite it happened because peace it returned to French Cameroon and war and conflict it entered Nigeria. When I remember the Biafra war and all of those things, if we be elect for join Nigeria, now which that way we for experience some inside Nigeria, we for be right at the center of the Biafra war. As a matter of fact, if we been at the epicenter of that war, because now the eastern region of Nigeria it be one for secede. So for continue, Endeley talks say, if you want to avert the impending confusion that will befall the Southern Cameroons, and if you want the territory to develop into a country where all will be fairly treated and adequately catered for, where there will be equal opportunities for everyone, irrespective of tribe, creed, race, or political association, then cast your vote in the green box during the plebiscite on 11th of February. God be with you. Emmanuel Mbela Lifafa Endeley. Now, your full name that EML Endeley. So, you see, I say, even when you write that green box, you write them in bold, in capital letters, because it want you forget them in your mind, make it be imprinted in your mind, for remember the green box and for vote for the green box, so that it go carry we the people then for former British Southern Cameroons attach them to Nigeria, because that one be na ye plan. Whereas for up there, when we be right about the white box where it go join we to French Cameroon, it talk about the Foncha Ahidjo plan, it write white box in small letters them. These are some of the small tricks the way people that they use in writing, in written speech, for get your attention and for make sure say at the end of the day, you take away the important message where it bring them. So you see I'm saying the words the way it capitalize them for this writing, now the word warning, red letter day, green box. Now the three things in that way it want you for know. It is sound a warning, say the 11th of February could be a red letter day, a day of significance, and it tell you say vote the green box. Now the reason that way Dr. EML Endeley we put out this communique, so when they say I'm it publicly advocate for association or integration with Nigeria. As I always talk, I always bring with the historical documents and the evidence. I give my analysis and opinions based upon the evidence way I present them to una, not just on my own feelings. So for the people, the way that they read EML Endeley, ye red letter warning, where it talks say what people they go suffer if they join French Cameroon, those people them they also try to lie and manipulate una, because the truth now say Endeley not just talk say what people they go suffer if they join French Cameroon. But the most important thing we need to understand is say he want una for vote for join Nigeria. Remember I said the beginning now the two alternatives. There was no third option. As a matter of fact, make I bring for una this evidence. When I look on the screen, my country people them. These ones them now posters, information where it be produced, printed and distributed throughout the territory of the Cameroons under United Kingdom administration, especially for the southern part, the southern Cameroons. When with the plebiscite it be the hold, they be sensitize the general public for understand the choices the way they get from Meckham. They give them information in advance. See this document, it talks about it. The Southern Cameroons plebiscite, notice to registered voters, come early on Saturday the 11th of February and decide what you want the future for your country to be. The document talks about the polling hours now from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. A vote cast in the green box is a vote in favor of achieving independence by joining the Independent Federation of Nigeria. Now the green box that way, Endeley be want make una vote for. A vote cast in the white box is a vote in favor of achieving independence by joining the Independent Republic of Cameroon. Now, look at this information at the bottom. There is no other choice. You can only vote where you were registered. You cannot vote on behalf of anyone else. You cannot vote twice. You cannot vote on behalf of anyone who is ill. You cannot enter the polling station after 5 p.m. The information will be clear. And then you see this other document where they put them for here. They actually put them, they draw them, print them in color with a green box for vote for Nigeria, the white box for vote for join Cameroon. The polling day itself, 11th of February 1961. This plebiscite it be conducted by the United Nations. So the people the way they come, Johnny come lately, can they talk say Endeley be done one we, Endeley be done one we. Remember say Endeley be the one who na they tell una say make una go join Nigeria instead. So the amber people them, the Confucianists, the separatists where they can't talk say Endeley be one way, Endeley be tell una say make una go join Nigeria. So the question is, are you saying that you would be better off as a Nigerian today? Because I say no. First of all, like I already talked, the Biafra war, we for being at the epicenter of the Biafra war if we join Nigeria. Nigeria gained independence from 1960. By 1966-67, they get multiple coup d'etats them, where it led on to the Biafra War by 1967 to 1970. Total and complete devastation where they destroy the eastern part of Nigeria. That could have been us. So all these people, the way that they talk, say Endeley be one way, Endeley be one way. Yes, Endeley be sound the warning before the plebiscite. Our people, they hear the warning, they talk say pa, we dey go join winner Cameroon. Despite the fact that the Makiza war will go on for Cameroon and everything else will go on for Cameroon, where people they don't tire the over domination, marginalization from the Nigerians. Now why that way where people they be come out then they say no, anything else is better than Nigeria. Now why that? So if you can't cry today, talk say Endeley be don't want we. Elections have consequences. And 11th of February 1961 plebiscite had consequences. Some people the losses for the election, some people they win. Yes, it be one way. No be warning they come ahead of time. You warn people them, they hear the warning and they decide against your warning. So what you want to do? You want to build a time machine and go back to 1961 and change the result of the plebiscite. Life does not work that way. You cannot have your cake and eat it. So for this part of the presentation, my country people then, we will look at the actual results of the plebiscite. We'll look at district by district. So as we now know, these documents them are downloaded from the United Nations Digital Library. If you go for your Google device, you search the document or you search for United Nations Digital Library, go for their archives, you could download this document for yourself. So now they map this. So as I don't tell you before, this territory it will be divided into two. You get the northern Cameroons and the southern Cameroons. Now for the southern Cameroons itself, it will be subdivided into two provinces. You get the Bamenda province and the Cameroons province. For the Bamenda province, it will get subdivided again into three divisions them or districts. You will get the Bamenda division, the Wom division, and then Kambe division. Whereas for the southern part, when at the Cameroons province, today they know I'm as southwest region, it will be divided into Kumba, Manfe, and Victoria divisions or districts as well. So for the plebiscite, they will subdivide these districts them into constituencies them for the purpose of the plebiscite. You will get someone they call them northeast, northwest, north, south, and all of those for make them easier for administrative purposes then. So all of these results that will come in from all the various different districts then, they put them together for tabulate the actual final result of the plebiscite. Now the final tally for the plebiscite that over 70% it will vote for join Cameroon and about 30% they will vote for join Nigeria. So now the district by district voting pattern this, you could see I'm saying this, so I don't create this table, I don't create this pie chart for make them easier for una for digest the intricate details them and the information where it be crucial and pertinent for we for digest them. So the first thing, if you take all these numbers them, you crunch them, you put them into a diagram, which way it show una say the vast majority of the people the way they be vote now for the Bamenda province, where now today's northwest region. And they just confirm the fears of the southwesterners say the northwesterners them they be overpopulated compared to them, they be now a minority. So if you see I'm say over 58% of the people the way they be vote, they be coming out from the Bamenda province, 193,664, whereas 42% when 137,648 people the way they be vote for that plebiscite, they be coming out from the Cameroons province when southwest region. And remember say many of the people the way they be vote inside the Cameroons province for southwest, they be actually still be now northwesterners them where they migrate into the southwest for take up positions them inside CDC and looking for greener pastures. Now, if you crunch those numbers them further, you will say I'm saying it is so. Now, only two divisions or districts they will vote for Nigeria. The Nkambe division inside Northwest, they will actually vote for Nigeria by a margin of 59%. And the Kumba division for Southwest, they will actually vote for join Nigeria as well by a margin of 54%. So now the only two divisions that this way they will vote for join Nigeria. One of the things where I want to make una understand that the peculiarity of the 11th of February plebiscite results. In Kambe, when them be vote for join Nigeria today, that the biggest people the way they want attachment to Cameroon. They love Cameroon one and indivisible more than any place else. Amber terrorism, it is strong now for Mezam, Bui, Goketunja, and Momo. When at the Bamenda division, where they be vote overwhelmingly for join Cameroon. Today, now them they talk about secessionism. Whereas in Kambe, where they be vote for join Nigeria today, now them one and indivisible Cameroon. The Bakweri tribe, they be actually vote for join Nigeria. Even though I don't tell when I say now only Kumba division, it be vote for join Nigeria. If you look at the actual dynamics, and we'll come to that, you will understand what I mean when I talk to the Bakweri tribe, they will vote for join Nigeria. I mean exactly what I say. If you go into the nitty gritty, you go into the details, you go see I'm saying the Bakweri tribe, they will overwhelmingly vote for join Nigeria. And today, now the same Bakweri tribe that way, they say Lai to Lai will remain one and indivisible Cameroon. There's a reason for these political calculations, the way the people they make them. Now, why this way would they study history? Now, why this way would they analyze things the way they don't happen in the past? And I go bring up una before I bring the analysis. It finds them and show una the concrete evidence of what way it don't already happen. The numbers, the figures, the voting patterns, the different tribes and how they vote, and then we will talk about the decisions where they make them and why they make those decisions. Them, my country people. Them.
Lesson number one, my country people, Dr. Waiting. Listen, whether or not you accept my country people is a force to reckon with. Me, I agree. This is an enemy that is strong. So, we got to be technical to what they do. We thank my country people for the wonderful job. Now, we'll go ahead.
So, we don't already ascertain, say, EML Endeley Ibibina, the main opposition leader to John Gofoncha, KNDP political party. Emmanuel Mbella Lifafa Endeley being a real name, a full name, and he be born in 1916 and he died for 1988. He be a Cameroonian politician where he be lead the Southern Cameroon's representatives out of the Eastern Nigerian House for Enugu, and he later on negotiate the creation of the autonomous region of Southern Cameroon around 1954 with the British government, because you need to understand, say, Southern Cameroon has been a part of the trust territory known as the Cameroons under United Kingdom administration. So it be need the United Kingdom for create our own house inside Boya. So we'll not be doing on our own, as some Cameroonians who can't talk and today say we be withdraw, can't create our own for Boya. No. Now the British government it be authorized them because we will still be in a British colony. Make we understand that fact. Or if you talk say because we'll be still being a part of a British trust territory. So we not be get the sovereign authority for withdraw out of Enugu and do whatever we want. Now the British they be dictator. So, EML Endeley, he been a member of the Bakweri tribe, where he papa, he been a chief of the Bakweri, and he be studied for Boya and for Nigeria as a medical doctor. For 1951, Endeley he be elected to the Eastern Nigerian House of Assembly for Enugu, and he be appointed Minister of Labour between 1953 to 1954. So for 1953, Endeley be joined John Gofoncha and St. Muna for leave the NCNC, where they call them National Council of Nigeria and Cameroon's party. They leave that party and they can form their own political party known as the KNC, Cameroon National Congress. See how they spell Cameroon with a K, because at that time all of them, Endeley, Foncha and Muna, they get this one Cameroon idea for their head. So they be the advocate now. When they create that KNC, they be the advocate for autonomy for Southern Cameroon. And remember, say St. Muna, he be also be appointed Minister of Public Works for Nigeria between 1952 and 1953. So Endeley and St. Muna now appointed cabinet ministers them for Nigeria, but they still experience such a high degree of over-domination and marginalization, where they commode them out of the NCNC for Nigeria, can create their own KNC political party, and then they start the advocates, say they want to commode them out of Nigeria for create their own autonomous region of Southern Cameroons. So after they create that autonomous region of Southern Cameroons, for 1955, John Gofoncha and St. Muna, they separate from the KNC where they be former and can create their own separatist party called the KNDP, Cameroon National Democratic Party. So now na Estimuna and John Gufoncha, they separate them from Endeley. Now they not just want to be an autonomous region as part of Nigeria, but they've been now as separatists where they want to separate totally from Nigeria. Endeley now it go form an alliance with the KNC and KPP of Namaso Mbile, so NNBile, their political party. So another thing we need to understand, NNBile, it will be born from 1923 and a person will come up from Dian. So you see I'm now say the first signs of Northwest versus Southwest divide, it don't start to show. So Mbile, where it come up from Dian, and Endeley, when Bakweri, it come up from Fako, they join forces, their KNC and their KPP together for fight against the KNDP when Estimuna from Momo and John Gufoncha from Mezam. So you see how now you get two distinct political ideologies. You get the Bamenda people them from the Bamenda province where they get the KNDP and they fight now for separation from Nigeria. And then you get now the KPP and the KNC of Endeley where they want greater association with Nigeria. They want to stay with Nigeria. This is where this thing started for 1955. So for 1957, Endeley it be squeak out a tiny victory for become the first prime minister of Southern Cameroon, that autonomous region, but it will still be administered as part of Nigeria. Endeley he become first prime minister, and just a few months after that, they make another election, and John Gufoncha he win, and he take over for be the second prime minister of Southern Cameroon. Endeley be been at the person where he lead the Southern Cameroons out of Nigeria for can form an autonomous region in Boya. But the political views they change later on. Why did they change? Because later on, by the time when the one come for 11th of February 1961 for the plebiscite, Endeley now it advocate and it campaign say make we vote for remain a part of Nigeria. By the end of this presentation, I will give you concrete evidence as to why Endeley will make that political calculations. Another thing where I come off for talk, where we need to understand them now, where it make that a red letter, it become abundantly clear. Now say, Endeley it will be now a prince of the Bakweri tribe. He come out from a royal family. So when he write that red letter, where it talk about, say, for French Cameroon, they no get House of Chiefs and all of those things, them. Remember, say, he actually been a direct beneficiary of the chiefs because he come out from an elite family. Some of we will not come out from the chieftaincy, will not come out from royalty. Who cares about House of Chiefs? Whether I want to get House of Chiefs or not, who cares? So if they care about House of Chiefs because now picking from the palace, so anybody want me to lose the rights and the privileges the way they get them as a royal family, as person way, they be directly in line to the throne of the Bakweri clan. So now one of the things in that way, when they talk about, say, they don't get House of Chiefs for Francophone Cameroon, all of those things, they talk about your personal, direct political interest, which is fine and normal because at the end of the day, politics is a game of interest. But the thing we want to need to understand where it be fascinating about Endeley calculation, where I go make them clear for una to understand them by the end of this presentation. Now say, now person this way, he lead the Southern Cameroons out of Nigeria. A few years later, your political ideology it completely changed. Now he want an association back with Nigeria. And now I will show you some of the documents the way I download them from the archives of the United Nations for the United Nations Digital Library. I want to show you these documents and for giving a greater appreciation of the infighting where it exists for Southern Cameroons in the 1950s, where it be make them extremely difficult for this territory for be granted independence. We'll go analyze all the details then for now, starting with Mbile, Namaso Mbile, ye petition, where it be the request and audience for United Nations. I want to take this opportunity to thank all man where you don't watch this presentation this far. For get more information about the Northwest versus Southwest divide, how we end up with special status instead of two-state federation, please watch this presentation where it is on our Facebook and YouTube channel, where I post them on the 26th of December 2024. It don't already get more than 150,000 views on Facebook alone. Thank all man where it don't share them.
We thank my country people for the wonderful job. Now, we'll go ahead.
For this part of the presentation, we will look at a brief history for that territory known as the former British Southern Cameroons. And I go let Siseko Ayuktabe give una this brief history. It be the talk for 2017 for Nigeria before it be arrested. Una listen.
Cameroon was a German colony until the First World War. During that war, Belgian forces, the French forces, and the English forces got to Cameroon, and they were the ones who actually won the Germans out of Cameroon. As a result of that conquest, the United Nations, in the partition of Africa, divided Cameroon into two and gave a small portion of Cameroon to the British to attach to Nigeria. 1919, Cameroon was divided into two portions. One part was called the British Cameroons and given to Britain. The other one was called the Republic of Cameroon and given to France. The British took their piece and they divided it into two. The top part, they call it the British Northern Cameroons. The down part, they call it the British Southern Cameroons, and attach it to Nigeria. Specifically to two Nigerian houses of chiefs, the Northern Nigerian House of Chiefs and the Southern Nigerian House of Chiefs. And this is how these two the German Cameroon got divided. So these two Cameroons were on both sides, with Nigeria, and the Republic stayed alone with France until 1958, when the British Southern Cameroons were already having issues with the Nigerian House of Chiefs, the Southern House of Chiefs, and they decided that they were going to break up and form their own country. They had their own judiciary, their own legislative, and their own executive, it was led by a prime minister. They moved over, and in 1959, they organized their own elections, in which the prime minister, the then Prime Minister Endeley, was defeated by John Foncha, and John Foncha moved into what we call the Prime Minister's Lodge, which till today is still standing in Oyo. That was in 1959. But they were still a colony of Britain. In 1960, on the 1st of January 1960, the Republic of Cameroon got its independence from France. On the 1st of October 1960, 10 months later, Nigeria got its independence from Britain. This small portion of Cameroon was still standing. In February 1961, they then did a plebiscite or a referendum, where they asked them, the two portions of this British Cameroon, they asked them two options. Do you want to have independence by joining the already independent Nigeria, or by joining the independent Republic of Cameroon? The British Northern Cameroons voted unanimously to stay in Nigeria. The British Southern Cameroons voted 60 to 40 to go to France. Because before they even did the vote, there were a lot of voices in the British Southern Cameroons, having left Nigeria and they were on their own, who said, we would rather be on our own. But the British at the time thought that portion of, they were too small and too few to be an independent state. They thought they were not viable. So they now joined, as I said, 60-40. They moved to France, to the French Cameroon. When they joined, that's in 61 rather, they now got together in what we call the Fuman Conference to craft their first constitution as a federal Republic of Cameroon, because the two parts were joining. In that constitution, they said the British Southern Cameroon that was coming to join was going to be henceforth called West Cameroon, and the Republic of Cameroon would be called East Cameroon. That's what came out of the Fuman Conference. Amadou Ahidjo was the head of the Republic of Cameroon that joined with the British Southern Cameroons led by Foncha. And when they joined the two countries and formed the Federal Republic of Cameroon, Ahidjo became the president of the Federal Republic of Cameroon, and John Foncha was his vice.
So that one a brief history, as Siseko Ayuktabe, he don't elaborate him. I agree largely with what we come off for talk. The only thing where I disagree with you, now the actual figures. It talks say they vote by a margin of 60 to 40% in favor of joining French Cameroon. That is not accurate. The real result I take now from the archives of the United Nations itself. Now actually 70 to 30%, where it means it will be now a landslide will be voted overwhelmingly for join French Cameroon. That is a fact. And for prove that point, I go let John Foncha himself, he go tell una the plebiscite result. He no go read them from a piece of paper because it dey imprinted in your mind, because now the biggest political victory that way he be don't ever achieve them. So before John Foncha talk, I want to digress a little bit. When I listen to some of the lies them where they always talk concerning the history for the former British Southern Cameroons, and then I go come iron out one or two things and for clarify a few points and for una. When I listen,
the Southern Cameroons had a period where they existed and had international status as a nation within international boundaries. And there is no justifiable, which is where I want us to get to another important part of the conversation. There is no justifiable legal process that has dissolved the internationally recognized boundaries of the Southern Cameroons. So before we get into that,
so that one, it been one of the so-called separatists and way, this so-called Ambazonians and way, they try to rewrite history, where they talk say Southern Cameroons, it be get internationally recognized border and all of those things them. That is a categorical fat lie. Either these people they be misinformed or they believe their own lies, but that statement is not true. The former British Southern Cameroons it never ever get any internationally recognized status. Never. As we hear from the history where been narrated by Sisiko Ayuktabe himself, from 1884 it became a German territory or German protectorate to 1918 where Germany lost the First World War, and then for the Treaty of Versailles for 1919 the territory be divided between the French and the British. So the status for 1884 na German protectorate, the status it changed for 1919 into the British Cameroons. So from 1919, the League of Nations territory get an international status where it be known as a British mandate, League of Nations mandate. Now the internationally recognized status that for that territory where it be now both the northern and the southern Cameroons together, they get that one status known as a League of Nations mandate. Now, the League of Nations, it fall apart at the onset of World War II. So by 1946, they create the United Nations. And now that territory now is status, it changed for 1946 with the advent of the United Nations Trusteeship Agreement for one territory known as the Cameroons under United Kingdom administration. Now, the status that territory get where it means say that Southern Cameroons, we wanna know, now just part of a trust territory, no be a trust territory on its own. Southern Cameroon now just a part of a trust territory. Now the internationally recognized status that way the territory get them. The next time where that territory is status it change, now from the 1st of October 1961, when the trusteeship agreement it will be terminated by the action of the exchange of notes, the British government signed an international treaty with President Amadou Ahidjo transferring the sovereignty of that territory to President Amadou Ahidjo for Yaoundé, and he also signed the same exchange of notes with the President of Nigeria transferring the sovereignty of Northern Cameroons to Nigeria. That one document, 6 pages, now the termination of the trusteeship agreement as stipulated by the resolution 1608 of the United Nations General Assembly. So you see I'm saying from the 1st of October 1961, the internationally recognized status of that territory it changed from being a part of a trust territory to being an integral part of a sovereign country called the Federal Republic of Cameroon. So the internationally recognized status now as it being a federated state called West Cameroon, federated state in the two-state federation known as the Federal Republic of Cameroon, and that status it never changed till date. Everything we don't happen since the 1st of October 1961 now internal administrative adjustments them. For example, when they go divide this part column say northwest, this one column say southwest, they divide this one column say Mbonke subdivision, or this one say na Nkambe subdivision, this one na Mezam division. All of those now just internal machinations where it be done for facilitate administration. Just like how when the United Nations it signed the trusteeship agreement with the British over the Cameroons under British administration, the British they take that territory now for administrative purposes. Now the reason that way they be divide them into northern Cameroons and southern Cameroons. And then they take the southern Cameroons, they subdivide them again into the Cameroons province and the Bamenda province. And inside the Cameroons province, they subdivide them again into the Victoria division, the Kumba division, and the Manfred division, or districts. So you see and say, they just take the districts, divisions, or whatever, the territory, subdivide them. That one are internal administrative processes, the way that they happen. It no means say, southern Cameroons, if you get any internationally recognized status, wrong. The only status where this territory get them, from 1884, it became a German protectorate. From 1919, it became a League of Nations mandate, part of a League of Nations mandate. For 1946, it became a part of a United Nations Trust territory, a part. And then for the 1st of October 1961, it became a part of the Republic of Cameroon. On its own, Southern Cameroon has never had an internationally recognized status. Never.
My country people then, una happy Youth Day, 11th of February 2025. As we celebrate this Youth Day and we look back in nostalgia, time when I be there for school, when I drink Alaska, chop pop-off, chop frying fish, play with my friends them on Youth Day, do you actually know the history of the 11th of February Youth Day celebration? When did it start? Now who started?
Now the Youth Day was formed in the Southern Cameroon to commemorate the independence for the Southern Cameroon, Independence Day, which was the Plebiscite Day. Because there was no other greater thing achieved in the Southern Cameroon than by voting so massively for independence and unification. The 11th February is a historic day for the Southern Cameroon, which should be commemorated. That was formed by me and by my government of the Southern Cameroon in 1964. Then 1968, well, the East Cameroon were imitating, want to imitate it. So Ahidjo thought it should be centralized, it should be made central. So he centralized it to be also practiced in all parts of the federation. That was 1960, about 1968, 4 years after. But he did not say that it was there. It was it was started in 1968, he said. Imagine, I think, which was being run in the Southern Cameroon since 1954. When he transferred it, he didn't mention the Southern Cameroon. It was originated in 1968 or 1966. It might have been 1966 when he transferred it between these two dates.
Because there is a lot of misinformation, lies, fake news and manipulation regarding the history of the former British Southern Cameroons. So when I don't hear from Pa John Go Foncha himself, it tokam, no me tokam. The evidence it be laid bare for una for understand them. The people the way they be start for celebrate 11th of February as a youth day na West Cameroon under the Prime Minister office of John Go Foncha. Now later on, where President Amadou Ahidjo be see am and it decide now for embrace the brothers from West Cameroon and for make the day, make it be national so that the whole country it will celebrate them in honor of the people there for West Cameroon, for celebrate, jubilate and honor the decision where the people they be make them for vote for that plebiscite on the 11th of February 1961 for can join with for reunification. So now what that way President Amadou Ahidjo it be do, it be just the try for honor the people there for West Cameroon. But today, for 2025, if you hear some Anglophones, they talk about 11th of February, where they talk, they declare lockdowns, ghost towns, all of those things. So once they talk, they just basically spread lies. They talk, say, oh, Yaoundé don't do this, Amadou Ahidjo do that. No. The day where Anglophones themselves, they decide, they select them of all the 360-something days in the year, the one day where the people there for West Cameroon, they be choose them, decide for celebrate them, na 11th of February, and they be call him say Youth Day. When I don't hear from Pa John Go Foncha himself, Now John Goat Foncha be decide for celebrate 11th of February as Youth Day, and President Amadou Ahidjo it just accommodate him, and then it make him federal so that make the whole country celebrate, not just West Cameroon. Thank you plenty, una happy Youth Day. So my country people them, this letter now from Endeley, as now see the date for day, on the 22nd of September 1959, before the plebiscite, that the letter this will be right time. So the first part of this letter, it come on from actually some person where named Mahamadou, when are from the northern Cameroons. So this one is no concern we. I want to make una go for this page. Una if download this document for the United Nations archive, una examine them for ourselves. So una see this letter and the topic that it talks about it. Undated letter from Mr. Namaso Mbile to the Secretary General. So I know we'll read the whole letter for una, but I don't highlight certain parts of the letter where I go one make we read them. It will give una a greater understanding of things where they will happen in 1950s and 60s before, during, and after the plebiscite. So NNBile right, it talks of recent, the Southern Cameroons has received so much publicity at the United Nations that I do not think it is necessary anymore to go into detail to introduce the territory. But I wish, sir, to remind members of the General Assembly of some basic factors which are essential to reckon with when handling the case of the Cameroons before proceeding to the main subject of my petition. So I want to give the background before I go talk about the petition where the writer. Remember this one now for 1959, it request a meeting for the General Assembly for hear your petition. So it continue, it talks it. What is called Southern Cameroons today is part of an artificial creation of the Berlin Conference in 1885. While the national units of the territory or the tribes were busy fighting tribal wars amongst themselves and in peacetime were engaged in other forms of tribal activity, the Berlin Conference of European nations partitioned Africa amongst the scrambling nations. So, unknown to any one of these units, the Bakweri, the Balondo, the Bafos, the Bakosi, the Bayangi, the Ekoa, and the Ajagams of the coastal forest belt were linked with the Widikums, the Bamita, the Bali, the Bafut, the Bansot, the Bamunka, or Bamukong of the grassland uplands of the Bamenda and the Bamums, the Bamleke, the Sanaga, the Gaundere semi-Arab stock of near Chad area into what the Germans labeled Cameroon with a K. So this arrangement commenced in 1886 and came to an abrupt end in 1914 as a result of the Great World War I. The German administration of Cameroon lasted for less than 30 years, and it did not have time enough to create even a sense of belonging to the national unity amongst the different tribes of the territory. The handful of schools established in the few places around the plantation areas had merely turned out a few young men who could spell names and write figures for plantation work. A few who had showed brilliance had been further trained as teachers to turn out more timekeepers and checkers for the plantations. And so, when in 1919 the Treaty of Versailles divided Cameroon between Britain and France, they were not splitting a people or a nation. Cameroon had not taken shape of a nation. This new arrangement was again another artificial creation. The present Southern Cameroons was created into a province of Nigeria and administered from Lagos like the other 22 provinces of Nigeria. This new creation of the Treaty of Versailles has carried on until this day and has produced tremendous and lasting results. There are hundreds of schools, several colleges, and English language is widely spoken. One may ask then why there is this insistence on the part of some people in the Southern Cameroons to secede from Nigeria. The answer is that this is a vote-catching creation of politicians who are exploiting the ignorance of the masses by suggesting to them that a change of political status would provide the answer to their poverty and underdevelopment. There are people who ignorantly believe the lies of the politicians that it is money from the Southern Cameroons that is building Lagos and other cities in Nigeria. I want for pause for day for explain for una say the lies them where they tell people them back in the days in the 1950s they haven't changed.
Now exactly the same lies the way they tell una today for 2025 when they lie for una say na CDC or na Southern Cameroons or na Northwest or West they feed La République du Cameroon. Those are big fat lies. You see na NMBile this way it talk am for 1959. Say it call am say wetin. They believe the lies of the politicians that it is money from the Southern Cameroons that is building Lagos and other cities in Nigeria. The same lie where they be talking for 1959, they recycle the same lies for full Anglophones them for 2025, saying that Southern Cameroons they feed the Republic of Cameroon. For 1959, they be talk the same thing, saying that Southern Cameroons they feed Nigeria. Now the money where they take from there, they build Lagos and all of those things. So we'll continue. So it continue for talk say. Also, a great deal of present battle is really a struggle between the grassland tribes in the Bamenda versus the forest southern coastal belt. Will the United Nations agree that a change of political status is the answer to our poverty and underdevelopment? So it tell una the true fight about this thing for secede from Nigeria and the reason why we will get a plebiscite in the first place. Now the infighting between the grassland tribes in Bamenda versus the forest southern coastal belt. So NMBile, like I don't already talk, now person may come out from Dian, southwesterner. EML Endeley na Bakweri, southwesterner from Fako. And then you get the Jongo Foncha and Estimuna and Augustine Gomjua them when are Graphi people them. So this letter 1959 will continue. It talks about it. My honest view, we'll start from there. It say, my honest view is that even a plebiscite cannot indicate the genuine wishes of the people. The people in the territory are still loyal to their tribal leadership, especially in the Bamenda grassland, and may be voting purely against their own interest merely because that is the line taken up by their chief. Will it normally be right for people to be expected to vote their posterity into a situation that they do not understand at all? So this one now, Namaso Mbile, it talks say, the people them from the northwest region, the Graphi people them, they be affiliated, they respect and they honor their chiefs so much, such that they go follow their chief into the grave. Anything where their chief tell them for do am, they go do am. And that is true till today. The chiefs them for northwest, if you compare the power where they hold them over their people them to the chiefs them for southwest. For example, why were the Amber terrorists they be catch chiefs them for southwest, they kill them. But when they catch chiefs on northwest, they fear for kill them because they know the importance, they know the weight and the power where the northwest chiefs they carry them. So you see all of these things, them knowing that something where it happened today. These things are things that have been happening since before the plebiscite. So it continue. So for this next paragraph, Mbile, it talks say, we believe that the only way to attain the objectives of the United Nations is for Southern Cameroons to attain self-government as a region of Nigeria and independence with the rest of the Federation or with French Cameroons. So it talks say, for achieve what the United Nations want, make we either get independence with Nigeria or with Cameroon. There is nowhere in this paragraph where it gives an option of a third option. Nowhere in this writing where Mbile it ask for the third alternative, say make we get independence on our own. It did not exist back then in the 50s. Not a single political leader for former British Southern Cameroons it be stand ask for the third option. Not one. All the people them like Mbile, Muna, Endeley, where they be go to talk for United Nations, they be only they articulate the fact say Southern Cameroons will not be ready for independence. And I go bring on more evidence. So it continue for talk say. But for the latter choice now for joining French Cameroon, it say, we have no interest because even though we may win independence, there will be so many problems in running a government with French Cameroon that we shall be worse than ever before. So once again, Mbile is the advocate for joining Nigeria, not French Cameroon. Now you position that. So it talks say, my last submission is an attempt to a solution. There are tribes that feel most strongly against any question of introducing another international frontier between Nigeria and the Southern Cameroons. Such tribes, amongst them, the Bakweris, the Balondos, the Ekoa, and the Bokis, and the people of Nkambe division. Like I don't prove am for una. Now exactly the tribes and this way they be vote for join Nigeria because they don't be want to see another frontier or a boundary, an international boundary between the former British Southern Cameroons and Nigeria. So the tribes and we write them. Remember, say this letter I write them now for 1959 before the plebiscite, and it come to pass at the plebiscite. Now exactly the tribes and this way they vote for join Nigeria. It talk them. It say these tribes them the Bakweri, the Balondo, the Bokis, and Nkambe division. They know one time, and it talks said they are very conscious of the problems that a reopening of the old Anglo-German frontier will reopen for them. It's a we are ready to accept a solution that will allow each tribe or division to choose freely where it would desire to be, in Nigeria or with French Cameroon. You see, no third option. No be me I write this letter. Nambile write down for 1959. No third option. It say for these tribes them where it don't list them up for here. These tribes then the Bakweri, Balondo, Nkambe division. It asks say make those tribes them they freely choose which way for belong either with Nigeria or Cameroon. It say we cannot accept to jump into a precipice with the tribes of Bamenda, Wom, and parts of Manfe merely because they have more tribesmen to cast blind votes. It tell you that they have more tribesmen to cast blind votes, Bamenda and Wom, because even back then for 1959, they understand say the people then for the forest region or the Cameroon's province, the Southwesterners, na a minority. And it fear, even before the plebiscite, say the Bamenda people, they go vote overwhelmingly for join Cameroon and they go drag the Bakweri, the Bakosi, the Boki, and the Nkambe people, them, it go drag them into French Cameroon, even if they no want for go. So, ye proposition, ye attempt at a solution, now for talk say, make the United Nations, it allow each tribe for decide who's how way they want for go. If the Nkambe vote for join Nigeria, make they join Nigeria. If the Bakweri want for join Nigeria, make they join Nigeria. So that made the Bamenda and the Wom people the way they want for join Cameroon, make they join Cameroon. That was his attempt at a solution. You understand? So it continued for talk say, especially when, as we know, the people there are under the influence of their chiefs and their tribal loyalties to a point difficult for the Western mind to figure out. In spite of the misleading indication that a plebiscite in the Southern Cameroons today will give, the United Nations feels we should go ahead with it. Then the question must be a straight choice between remaining with Nigeria or joining French Cameroons. No third option. Okay? Remaining with Nigeria or joining French Cameroons. No third option. Now, Bill at the right time. It talks say, I beg to request for permission to appear before the fourth committee to give oral support and evidence to buttress the submissions in my petition when the Southern Cameroon's case shall be handled. May I also respectfully request you to circulate this petition amongst the members and delegates of the General Assembly and of the fourth committee, as well as amongst the members of the Trusteeship Council. You see, it's sign up for here, right for down here. It's sign up. Namaso Mbile, leader of the Cameroon People's Party, the KPP, and the deputy opposition leader in the Cameroon's House of Assembly, and also the president of the Balondo People's Convention. So, now Namaso Mbile that, now the petition that way, he write 1959, a request for a beg for request for permission to appear before the fourth committee. Guess what? The request was granted, and a week later, it will appear at the fourth committee, and we will deal with that later next.
Now, my country people, them make I digress small for make sure say when I still pay attention. When I watch this one, the Ambazonian terrorists they test one of their latest technological innovation for fight war against the Cameroon military. I beg, make when I know over laugh, when I listen and watch and enjoy. Ah! It's a fire. So that one. Now the poorly educated Anglophone youth then that way they sacrifice their lives in the bush every day. And now why that way? It be so important for learn our history so that we not continue for they make this stupidity and they losses our lives and our resources then for nothing. So yes, my country people then we go mash fire. So this next document now, once again, now from the United Nations General Assembly 14th session, official records for the 4th committee 887th meeting. Now if you see the date for here, Friday 25th of September 1959. A few days after Mbile it be right the request for appear in front of this 4th committee. So if you see for here the contents where they talk agenda item number 41, where they talk about the future of the trust territory of the Cameroons under United Kingdom administration continued. So the chairman for that meeting, it come from Indonesia, Mr. Pala, and now the agenda items and this the future of the trust territory Southern Cameroons, blah 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 blah. And then now if you see unfair, they continue the hearing of the petitioners. So I don't highlight certain parts of this document where I want for read and for now. It no go be a good use of una time for me for read every single word on this document. So I don't just select some excerpts and forgive una the gist and understanding of what way it happened for 1959 just before the plebiscite. So this here for here the talks the questions addressed to the representative of the United Kingdom, the Premier of Southern Cameroons, and the leaders of the opposition in the Southern Cameroons House of Assembly. So, number 8 for here, paragraph 8, the talk say, the chairman invited members of the committee to put questions to the United Kingdom delegation, which would reply to them at a later meeting. So this one be interesting. Mr. Abikusno of Indonesia, it be observed that according to Mr. Endeley, the two most important issues connected with the plebiscite were the alternatives to be put to the people and the qualifications of those to be entitled to vote. The government and the opposition parties were apparently divided on the subject of those two basic issues, and Mr. Endeley had remarked at the 885th meeting that the parties could change places at any time in the life of the legislature. He therefore wished to ask Mr. Endeley whether he would prefer those two issues to be considered when there was a more stable government, and whether he would accept any decisions adopted by the General Assembly which might be contrary to the wishes of his party. So what way Mr. Endeley it be informed the United Nations now say for Southern Cameroons when we Endeley be elected the premier, it will get a very slim majority way. It means say at any time they get another election and they go on city and the opposition it could become the party in power. And now exactly what way it be happen when we Endeley it be unseated and then John Goodfoncha it win for be the premier, and John Goodfoncha it be win by a very slim majority as well, where it means say it be volatile. The leadership it not get enough mandate for it do whatever they want to do, because at any moment the opposition if it take power. Now wait that way it the explainer. So for paragraph 10 for here the talk say on the subject of voters qualifications, Mr. Endeley had said that it would be most undemocratic to seek to disenfranchise Nigerians and persons from the Cameroons under French administration who were residing in the Southern Cameroons and had referred to Nigeria and Cameroons under French administration as future neighbors on whom the Southern Cameroons might have to depend for trade and other purposes. So like the Tokam, the biggest problem, their disagreement, it will be now the two questions for posam to the people at the plebiscite, and also who will qualify for vote. For Endeley own political calculation, ABCM say it be not to ye advantage if they allow Nigerians for vote and people the way they come out from the former and people the way they come out from the Cameroons under French administration, because it knows say they get more Nigerians where they live in that territory than people the way they come out from the French Cameroons. So Endeley be make the political calculation say if they allow the Nigerians to be allowed to vote,
then it go fit combat or it go fit bump up the numbers the way it need them for drag that territory into Nigeria. Because if you understand, say, the Southwesterners them now a minority and the Northwesterners they get bigger population. So now one of the calculations that we be make for say me they allow Nigerians for vote, and also people the way they come out from the French Cameroon, because if you know say the people the way they come out from French Cameroon now a tiny few, even if they vote compared to the number of Nigerians where they go vote, it could be advantageous for ye political situation. Say it go vote, the vote it go be in favor of joining Nigeria. So now wait that way it be the calculate on, and now wait that way it be put them to the United Nations. So now you see paragraph 13 for they talk saying Mr. Kwaisong Saki of Ghana. Remember, I said Ghana don't be independent since 1957. So these deliberations now for 1959, Ghana don't be a member of the United Nations, and also Guinea be independent for 1958. So some of these conversations, then you could get representatives from Ghana and Guinea, where they go be in the committee meeting for United Nations General Assembly, where they go also give their own input. So make we listen to what way the representative from Ghana, be talk. He say the statements made at the committee gave the impression that the people of Southern Cameroon were as yet not sufficiently politically articulated to understand the meaning of a plebiscite. This one now the biggest disgrace, and I will let von Goji Dinka explain them later on, because it will tell you the biggest disgrace. This one now an African representative, an African delegate for United Nations General Assembly. It talks say the people then for the British Southern Cameroons, they never even be politically sufficient enough to understand the meaning of a plebiscite. The talk say, the debate whether what people they be ready for independence. The talk say these people they not even be sufficiently articulate enough to understand where to be plebiscite. You see, these are historical documents from the archives of the United Nations. I did not write these things. If I give una my opinion, it be based on the facts and the reality where I present them to una. This one that the representative from Ghana, it talks that the people of Southern Cameroon were as yet not sufficiently politically articulate to understand the meaning of a plebiscite. He desired to ask the United Kingdom representative, firstly, whether he could testify to the ability of the people of the Southern Cameroons to decide their own future, and secondly, whether he thought that the people understood the meaning of a plebiscite, and thirdly, whether he could say what had been the consensus of opinion at the plebiscite conference on the questions which should be put to the voters at the plebiscite and on the persons who should be entitled to vote. This damning statement coming from another African country telling the United Nations, say maybe these people they don't even understand where to be plebiscite, let alone say these people they fit be independent on their own. It comes as a result of the infighting, serious infighting between Endeley and John Foncha. The Northwest-Southwest divide. The Bamenda people versus the Forest people. Now you make them the biggest disgrace. Before I bring in lawyer Goji Dinka, the person where he come up with the name Ambazonia, he can't talk, he make him clear for una to understand. But before I bring it on, when I listen to this paragraph 14, it talks say, it continue now the Ghanaian representative, it talks say, it go be glad if Mr. Foncha go explain whether in saying that the future of the territory should be determined at a later date, he had any definite timetable in mind. So now this Ghanaian official, it vex, it scratch his head, say, we the African people, they talk, say, we don't want Europeans, we don't want colonialism, we want to be free, we be matured enough to handle our own decisions. But here is a unique situation of an African political leader. It come for United Nations can't talk say it want colonialism, make it extend further. Because of their own infighting. It talks say, na John Go Foncha, it can't talk for United Nations, say, they want the United Nations, they want the United Kingdom for continue the trusteeship agreement until a later date. So now the Ghanaian representative, they ask, he said, do you even know what the later date is? What is your timetable? A later date, is it 1 week? Is it another 100 years? Jongo Foncha no know it. Now the people in this way will not think say they will be ready for independence. As a matter of fact, so now this paragraph number 17 now from the representative from Venezuela, Mr. Zuloga, it talks say it get 2 questions for Putam and it could leave them whether na Foncha it could reply or na Mr. Endeley could reply or na the United Kingdom administrative or representative it could reply. It no mind, but it want for put these 2 questions there, made the reply. So it go on for ask this question. It say, since agreement had not been reached on the 2 questions to be asked in the plebiscite, it they wonder whether it would not be possible for 3 questions to be put. Una see am? 3 questions. Now the representative from Venezuela, they ask now about giving them a 3rd option. Even begging these people, they now beg them, they beg Endeley, they beg Foncha. Say, make una go for a 3rd option. Go for a 3rd option. Go, una go be independent on una own. You see, there were discussions for a 3rd option. He asked and say, would it not be possible for 3 questions to be put? The question should be as simple as possible. The first alternative offered might be unification with Cameroon under French administration. The second is integration with Nigeria, and the 3rd, independence. This one, now the representative from Venezuela, it is suggest, say, why are we here talking about 2 alternatives, 2 alternatives, 2 alternatives? Why not the 3rd option of total independence without Nigeria, without Cameroon? Why are we not talking about this? So when I see them say this, so the lies where Anglophones they can't talk to themselves, they have to stop. No blame the Francophones, no blame France, no blame anybody else. The people the way you need for blame them. Now Foncha and Endeley, there were possibilities for the 3rd option if they fought for it. If they be asked for the 3rd option, they would have got it. And I go bring in Fon Goji Dinka. I go explain for una some of the things the way they be transpire. So you see, the 3rd option, now the delegate for Venezuela, they ask. So now, you see, I'm now say paragraph 20, Mr. Loringe from Hungary, he would like for ask Mr. Foncha and Mr. Endeley to inform the committee whether discussions had been or were being carried out or carried on between the representatives of the Southern Cameroons and representatives of the Cameroons under French administration on the possible future status of the territory in the event of unification. So another thing you could say and say throughout this document, the international community, for example, that part from Hungary, they talk about unification. Everywhere they talk about unification or reunification. So the Johnny come lately, separatists, the so-called Amba them, they will come today. Talk said they go school the United Nations. Said there was no unification. We will not unite because we don't ever be a part of them. So they want to rewrite these documents them. The only way for una for rewrite them now for build a time machine, travel back in time, go change every single word where they discuss them for these committees them for United Nations for 1959. That's the only way. The document, the right way safety, unification. So this part from Hungary, it could also ask, he would also like to know whether discussions had been or were being held with representatives of Nigeria on the possibility or the possible future status of the territory in the event of integration. He would also ask blah, 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 blah. And then now ma read una this next statement. I'm not going to stay long for this document. So, paragraph 21 talks saying, In his statement at the 885th meeting, Mr. Foncha had asserted that the KNC and KPP alliance, basically Endeley and Mbile, their alliance, they be wish, say, reunification with the French Cameroon to be included as an alternative question in the plebiscite because they be hope, say, the terrorist murders in French Cameroons, it go frighten the people into voting for integration with Nigeria. So I explain that for now. The two alternatives, they be now integration or reunification. The two alternatives be now integration or unification. Integration means joining Nigeria. Unification means reuniting with Cameroon. So John Go Foncha be the play on the calculation, say, no one tell the people them say they could join French Cameroon. It be just one, may they put the question in the plebiscite, say, may they secede from Nigeria. And then later on, join Cameroon. Because at that time, there was serious terrorist activity in French Cameroon. So, Mbile and Endeley, their calculation be and say, may they tell the people them the whole truth. Say, we are not just seceding from Nigeria. The point of seceding from Nigeria is to join with French Cameroon. Because the Mbile and Endeley, their calculation be and say, if they tell the people that for Southern Cameroon, say they could join French Cameroon, it would scare them. They would be afraid of the Makiza war so that they could go join Nigeria instead. You see the political calculations. Now, why that way, Foncha be the talk say, no, make we not talk say we could join French Cameroon just yet. Make we just secede from Nigeria, come out from Nigeria, and then decide the joining with French Cameroon at a later date. Now, why that way the representative from Ghana, and they ask you, say, what later date are you talking about? You want to extend the trusteeship agreement? You want to extend colonialism? While we're in Mbile and Endeley, and they ask the people, then say, may they put that question for reunification immediately. Where it means, say, if we come out from Nigeria, it means say we join Cameroon one time. Because their calculation be and say, if they talk so, plenty people they go fear. Because they be the key people then for French Cameroon, cut their head and pin them on top stick, like how amber terrorists they do for our territory today. And when people they hear all those stories, them it will frighten them. So Mbile and Endeley, the KPP and the KNC, they be talk say, make them put them down, say, secession from Nigeria means reunification with Cameroon immediately. So now this representative, it asked Mr. Foncha how far the events during the previous year in French Cameroon had influenced the public opinions in the Southern Cameroons and to what extent they could be expected to affect the voting of the plebiscite. So now this person wants to know whether the terrorist atrocities them in French Cameroon, it don't affect public opinion inside the former British Southern Cameroons. No mind the Johnny come lately where they can't talk nonsense, say United Nations up, United Nations down. Many of them never ever read these documents and because they don't get the time. First of all, some of them are illiterate. You understand? They don't get the time to go find these documents and understand the true history, what really happened. It'd be easier for Anglophone man for just blame Probia, just blame Ahijo. Everything will happen. Anglophone man is shitting the smell. Just blame someone else. But the truth and the reality say now what people them, their incompetence, their stupidity, their infighting between the Bakweri tribe, the Southwesterners and the Northwesterners them. Now ye bring we who's away with day today, and I go come can explain for now the dynamics and the political calculations where people they still make them till today. It stem from this reality. So you see, this last paragraph here where I want to read for una, it just explain what way be happen for una for talk about the incompetence and the stupidity of our people them. So now this one now Mr. Sidi Baba from Morocco, it ask whether in the opinion of the Cameroonian authorities, it talk na Endeley, Muna, and Foncha, and Mbile. It ask the Cameroonian authorities or the administering authority when at the United Kingdom, the British, it asked them if it would be possible for the people then for Southern Cameroons to choose some other alternative other than association with Nigeria or unification with the Cameroons under French administration. It asks for the third option, a third alternative. So now the second time this for this one document. We don't hear the other person from Venezuela. He asked the one for Ghana talk. Now than the one for Morocco. It asks, what about a third alternative? What about independence on your own? Why are we not talking about that? Why are you not fighting for independence? Why are we here talking about Nigeria or Cameroon? Why not talk about explain about how you can be independent on your own? Talk about your economic activity, the potential in your territory, what you can bring to bear, your unity, how you will work together. Endeley, Foncha, Muna, everyone working together towards nation building. Why are we not talking about that? Why are we not talking about an alternative solution rather than association with Nigeria or unification with Cameroon? Why are we not talking about a third alternative? He asked this question to Endeley, to Foncha, to the British. You would be very surprised to hear their responses. None of them. Nobody consider say that territory be viable for being independent on your own. Capo Daniel don't already tell una wait away Foncha be talk. Una listen to the person, the father of Ambazonia, the person where he bring this name, say Ambazonia. Fongum Gojidinka. From Widikum, it go explain something for now. The disgrace where our forefathers them they give we. No mean that today start. The lies the way the common can tell we in the past few years them. Not just for cover their own shame, their own ineptitude, their infighting and stupidity. Now why that way they can't lie for Anglophones them, for bringing Ambazonia terrorism. Una listen.
Now the UN trusteeship agreement does not call on a plebiscite. How did the people of Southern Cameroon suddenly find themselves with a plebiscite? They really shouldn't have been a plebiscite.
Well, this was one of some of the maneuvers which the British were using. If there was no plebiscite, they wouldn't have been. They would not have had opportunity to try to force us to get into Nigeria. They created the same situation in Togo, British Togoland. The trusteeship agreement says you lead the people to self-government or independence. But of course, there's a place there according to the wishes of the people. Now, that is a clash. They say they must get the people to demonstrate their wish. So, they ask United Nations, come and ask what is the wishes of the people. And our own, we provoked it ourselves. Because Dr. Endeley, who led us out of Nigeria to come and create our own country, was tuned by his wife, who was a Nigerian, to make a U-turn and say, no, we should get back to Nigeria. This is the influence of a wife. Endeley now was there now against our continued existence without Nigeria. And yet he is the one who organized to break us out of Nigeria. So this conflict as to where we should be became an issue, and the British cashed on it. There are people who want to go back to Nigeria, and the others who say they want to be independent. But then they invented, in 1958, their statement to the United Nations was that Southern Cameroon was ripe for independence. And because it is being ruled from Nigeria, there will have to be they have to make the people decide whether they wanted this independence with Nigeria or away from Nigeria. This was a document sent by the British in June 1958. But once they saw that in 1959 there was a special session of the United Nations for Cameroon, I led the student delegation from London. My other delegate was Professor Nomangu. And there, the African bloc succeeded in getting Endeley and Foncha to sign a document saying because the British had insisted that there should be 2 plebiscites. One to ask us whether we wanted to leave Nigeria or not. And if we agreed that we're going to leave Nigeria, then another plebiscite, whether we want to be unified with the Republic of Cameroon or to stay by ourselves or to join Nigeria. Can you imagine? All that was to make sure that they churn us until somewhere they have a small majority for joining Nigeria. Now, but this woman stole a march, Mrs. Angie Brooks of Liberia. She was the chairperson of the African Bloc. They got these 2 people to sign that there is no need conducting a plebiscite about whether we should leave Nigeria or not. We have declared today that we have left Nigeria. You see what unity can bring? Once these signatures of Foncha and the leader of opposition were on the table at the UN cancelled everything the British were saying about an election as to whether you're coming out of Nigeria or not. If they had signed another one, that there is no need for a plebiscite to go to Nigeria or La République de Cameroon, we would have got our independence. Foncha was asked, when is it you want trusteeship to be terminated? That is to say, when do you want independence? Foncha said, oh, we want the British to stay on for a short time. That is what brought a clash between the Students' Union and Foncha. They asked him, how short? How many days? How many weeks? How many months? How many years? Oh, a short time. What short time? What are you talking about, short time? The African bloc that linked up with the Arab bloc and the others, they were so ashamed that this was an African leader who comes and insists on perpetuating colonialism. This was the biggest disgrace we ever had internationally, insisting that colonialism should continue, whereas the UN was out to decolonize Africa. So this is the type of leadership we've had from day one, especially headed by Foncha. So when this thing took place, as you were asking, why did they not do something about it? Best thing is to ask the man, but he's dead now. Why didn't you go to United Nations and say, what have you done? You ask us to vote for one thing, and you allow another country to come and occupy us.
So that is the kind of leaders we have had with the John Good Foncha and the EML Endeley. So when you hear a person like Fongum Goji Dinka, they talk, they talk like a lay person. Now person this way, he be present at the 4th committee when they debate this thing before the plebiscite itself. Now people in this way, they know these things because they participated in these things. You hear which way they talk, a damning report of which way they happen. Also remember, this one, it be before Cameroon get independence, before Nigeria get independence. France, get no contribution to this. The problem has always been our own leaders, their own ineptitude, their own infighting amongst themselves has always been the curse of the people them from that geographical space. Now infighting, the Northwest versus the Southwest divide. That is the curse of the Anglophones, where it don't always hold we back from progressing. So una don't hear how Fongum Goji Dinka narrate how when Endeley and Foncha they be agree, they be get whatever they want. So now your own assessment that say you see what unity can bring when Endeley and Foncha they be agree, say listen, we don't need a plebiscite. We don't already agree from today, say the territory it go separate from Nigeria. End of discussion. The British grant their wishes. If the 2 of them they be agree as the opposition and the government in power, they be agree on any one item, they be get the means for convince any person in the world for give them which way they want. And the truth now say they no be fight for total and complete independence. That territory it no be get full complete sovereignty and independence because our leaders did not fight for it. Our leaders were too preoccupied fighting amongst themselves. So you also get this phenomenon where Anglophones that they lie to themselves. The modern day 1990 something SCNC 2000 and something people that they kind of lie about what will happen in the 50s, the 60s, and even in the 90s and 80s. Matt tell you now one of the lies when they run the talk say na President Amadou Ahidjo be manipulate a John Good Foncha, Estimuna, and Endeley. Na Amadou Ahidjo be do this, na Amadou Ahidjo be do that. But I don't just prove them for now. These things when we discuss them today will never even reach for time where Cameroon will be independent. No, we still there for 1950s. You understand? So how President Amadou Ahidjo be manipulate these people then when we no be even get a country of its own? Another excuse where Anglophones they give John Good Foncha, Endeley, and the rest, they give them the excuse say, no, you know these people they be very young. Some of them been only grade 1 teachers. They no be know what way they do. First of all, that excuse it be self-defeating because you the proof the point say that territory it no be get people the way they be intellectual enough, where they be matured politically enough for be independent. That's what you're saying. So while people they be being only grade 1 teachers, the biggest leaders for that territory they be being a grade 1 teachers. So how then can you then want the whole world for agree for give a country a sovereignty for that kind of people then for manage them? They were not capable according to your own argument. But even that argument is a big fat lie. Now manipulation. You know why? Remember, say the oldest person of these people, them these 5 key figures, them you get Estimuna, John Good Foncha, EML, Endeley, Namaso Mbile, Amadou Ahidjo. These 5 people they were come for column. You know who be the oldest and who be the youngest? Yes, think about it. The oldest one na Estimuna, the born in for 1912. After that, you get na John Good Foncha and Endeley, they born them both now for 1916. After that, you get Mbile, they born in for 1923. The youngest person na Amadou Ahidjo. Of all of these people, them the youngest person where he been the most inexperienced na Amadou Ahidjo. Now the same Amadou Ahidjo this way when I want tell we say by 1961. When where the union it happened, now he don't turn now he manipulate people the way he be 8 years younger than them. He be 8 years younger than Foncha and Endeley, 12 years younger than Estimuna. But you want we for believe say now that young man Amadou Ahidjo he be the manipulate Estimuna, manipulate Foncha, manipulate Endeley, manipulate Mbile, manipulate all man for Anglophone Cameroon. That's just a lie, unconscionable lies where Anglophones they don't tell themselves and their people. And the sad reality now say Anglophones they don't internalize those lies and they start to believe their own lies. Amadou Ahidjo no be manipulate no Anglophones. It no be manipulate Estimuna, John Good Foncha, Endeley or Mbile or any person. These people were not capable of running their own affairs. These people were so inept, so incompetent because they were focused on fighting each other, not fighting for the general good of their people. That is the biggest handicap where they get them. And we need to also understand, say, Amadou Ahidjo, he be the president of Cameroon at the age of 36. Meanwhile, for 1951, when Estimuna, John Good Foncha, and Endeley they be elected to the Nigerian House of Assembly for Enugu, Estimuna be already be 39 years old as the parliamentarian. John Good Foncha and Endeley they be 35 years old, time where they elect them for 1951, send them to the Eastern House of Representatives for Enugu. They be already be over the age of 35 years old. Amadou Ahidjo, he become president of a sovereign nation at the age of 36. Now from 1951 to 1961, when the former British Southern Cameroons finally gained independence and joined French Cameroon, Estimuna was 49 years old by 1961. Endeley and Foncha, they be 45 years old. Whereas Amadou Ahidjo, he be only be 37 years old at the time of the union. Endeley and Estimuna, they be hold positions in cabinet, appointed ministers them in the Eastern House of Assembly for 1952 to 1954. These people them, no be na people the way you forfeit take them lightly. Endeley be being a medical doctor. You understand? And just imagine the 10 years between 1951 to 1961 when the Endeley them, the Foncha and the Estimuna, they go from being elected to the Eastern House of Representatives to 1961 Plebiscite. Now 10-year period. In those 10 years, even if you be a novice, even if you be at the primary school level of understanding of something where you just know how to read and write, let's say we talk about politics, you don't get 10 years. In that 10 years, you've often studied for 5 years for qualify for get your ordinary level for that subject. Another 2 years you will get advanced level, and another 3 years on top of that you will get a university degree level for understanding of that subject. So these people, they will play politics for more than 10 years by the time they become independent. Therefore, don't be at degree level by 1961. So for tell me, say they don't even know what they do, that's just a big fat lie. They don't get 10 years of experience in politics. They understand everything when they go on in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in the southern Cameroons especially, and they knew what they were doing. They were just too incompetent, too inept, and the biggest problem where it faced them, now their own infighting. Once again, I thank you. If you don't watch this presentation this far, I hope so you don't learn something new. I beg you, and the only thing this way at the request of you, so make you share the presentation, so make another person to get the message where at the game for una. You know, say una countryman, the Kumkumasa, the Igwe, the king of all the black legs, we they like MTN everywhere you go, and we provide una service for free. You need to pay me for this thing, for this presentation, and this free lesson what they give you. The only thing where I request for una, na say make una share them, so that the next person it will also get the same information and it will learn 1 or 2 things then. Thank you plenty. So this document now still the United Nations General Assembly and the 4th committee. This one now 890th meeting, Wednesday the 30th of September 1959 for New York at 3:10 p.m. where this meeting will be held. So make I go straight to the agenda item. I don't highlight some important parts them for reading for una. So una fisiam the agenda item the day for here, but the one where I highlight now item number 41, where they be discussed about the future of the Trust Territory of the Cameroons under United Kingdom administration. Continue, and then but this important one, the request for a supplementary hearing. So remember earlier I be telling us say Pa Mbile a be request for appear for this 4th committee for discuss the future of the former British Southern Cameroons. He asked whether there were any objections to granting the hearing requested. So the committee be decide for granting the hearing. So now NM Bile, it don't jump on top table for give a petition and answer questions them from the people the way they could decide the future of the Cameroons under United Kingdom administration, where Southern Cameroons be being a part of that territory. So Mr. Mbile of the KPP party said he considered it necessary to clarify his previous statements to the effect that the political atmosphere in the Southern Cameroons was at present unfavorable for the organization of a plebiscite. As a result of the recent elections and of the change of government, the feelings of the Cameroonian people were running too high for them to be able to express their wishes freely and objectively. So basically, they don't get a new election and Endeley don't losses, Foncha win. So now Endeley ye partner. Mbile, you don't come now for United Nations. We can't tell them, say, no, may we no hold plebiscite just yet. Because people, they still vex. Because tensions are high. Nobody at the right time this for hold plebiscite. So, he continued for talk say, the territory's future was too important for it to be decided by the throw of a dice. Moreover, it was equally wrong to claim that the people of the Southern Cameroons had not yet attained political maturity. The same situation could arise even in more advanced countries. So, any talk now, any tribe can defend defend themselves by saying that, for example, the representative of Ghana and other African nations, where they will tell them, say, you people haven't attained maturity. You are not ready for independence. If they can't talk for years, say, it is wrong to claim that the people of Southern Cameroons have not attained political maturity. It's the same situation where they find themselves in, if it be if it arise in even more advanced countries than the infighting. That's the situation it talk about. The infighting between KPP and the KNC political party, and Endeley versus Foncha. Now the infighting that way it can defend themselves. So now Mr. Capio, the representative for the Philippines, it asked NMBile now if it go want the plebiscite for be postponed, and if so, for how long? So paragraph 7 here, Mr. Mbile of KPP is considering that in view of the situation, it was reasonable to postpone the plebiscite since the issue of independence, the issue is of capital importance. The independence of Southern Cameroon was at stake. It was only reasonable, it was only right that postponement should be for the shortest possible period. Hey, I don't die. Yeah, people, the way they want to lead a country. He say, why people they don't be ready for vote for the plebiscite, may they postpone them. Then they ask you say, okay, if we consider for postpone the plebiscite now, for how long? Yeah, you respond, the shortest possible period. How short is a piece of string? Who knows? They were not ready. Was it 1 week, 1 year, 10 years? No idea. Who knows? There is no adult in the room. You understand? So you see how frustrating it was dealing with the politicians from the former British Southern Cameroon. So now Mr. Carpio from the Philippines, he asked the petitioner to explain what he meant by the shortest possible.
Somewhere Sako, quick from the two. I never like for coach people that tribes, but believe me, Bakweri man, I put question mark with it.
Mama mia. Man talk like Tapang.
Hi, malokala kalando kandamba karianda zundo mbanongo no. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah.
Now our leaders than this. Now the guy from Philippines they ask, he said, what do you mean by the shortest possible period of time? What do you mean? Have you even thought about this? Now wait it this way, Mr. Endeley, he talked. He recalls say, if the circumstances had been normal, the Southern Cameroons would have attained independence on the 1st of October 1960 at the same time as Nigeria. But complications had arisen because elections had been held and a new government with new ideas had come into power. It would therefore be desirable to postpone the date of plebiscite in the Southern Cameroons to 1 year or at the most 18 months from now. So wait the way Pambile the talk now and them with Endeley, they be just want for integrate with Nigeria so that by the 1st of October 1960, as Nigeria they gain independence, we too will just join gain independence as an integral part of Nigeria. Now wait it that way it be happen with British Togoland. Make una understand, a lot of people they talk out of pure ignorance. They don't know them say it is so. The situation where we find ourselves in, we were not unique. It happened with all the German territories then for Africa. Togoland, it been a German Togoland. After World War I, they will divide the Togoland into British Togoland and French Togoland as well. So now the British, they will get the same situation for Togoland. For 1957, they will ask the people then for British Togoland in a plebiscite as well, whether they want for vote for gain independence with Ghana. As Ghana they get independence, them too they go get independence one time. The people they agree, they vote. So now by the I don't know the exact date for 1957, as Ghana gain independence, it gained independence with British Togoland as an integral part of Ghana. And they still be one till today. They get independence on the same day. So now the situation this way, if it happen for Southern Cameroon, for Northern Cameroon, they be dead them fine. Therefore, just join Nigeria, go them. They don't get them problems. But for our side, for Southern Cameroons, Jongo Foncha say lie to lie. We know one Nigeria, we must secede from Nigeria. Endeley the talk say no, make we remain. We will just get independence one time with Nigeria. So now the problem will be happen as the election a hold and Jongo Foncha a win. So now as Endeley come out as the prime minister for Southern Cameroons, he no longer get the powers for drag we go enter Nigeria. So now why that way now Endeley and Bile, their political party now, they beg the United Nations say, may they wait, may they not do the referendum or the plebiscite just yet. Because different people, they don't take power with different ideas. The Bamenda people, them Graffiti people, they don't take power and they get different ideas. Their ideas now for come out for Nigeria, go join French Cameroon. But the question remains, why it be so paramount for Southwesterners them, the Bakweris, the Balondo, the Bokis, why it be so important for them for join Nigeria. You could discover later. Say their biggest fear be being at the fear of over-domination by the Graffiti people. You will come to that. And now why that way every single political calculation where Southwesterners they don't ever make them in the 50s, as it was in the 60s, and it was in the 1966, in the 1970s, in the 1980s, in the 1990s. So it is today with the Grand National Dialogue where they talk say two-state federation, lie to lie, it don't ever happen. The political calculation is the same. The fear of over-domination of the Graffiti people, now ye be the drive the Bakweri people them, the Mbile, the Endeley. I go bring una more evidence.
What had happened in dialogue? What happened? When we went in for a grand dialogue, I must be clear to you, the bishops of this province had already put out a memorandum to the Prime Minister in preparation for the dialogue to stand for federation. We said federation. And this is how we went into the dialogue. Now, this is what I want to explain to your televiewers. Right. When we went into that dialogue and we started talking, this was still the opening of the dialogue. It was Chief, the late von Mukete, who got up and he made an analysis. All the videos are still there. Von Mukete started by saying that the position of the Southwest was that they don't want to have anything to do with the Northwest. And that if they are talking about federation, the Southwest position was that they didn't want any federation as long as that would have them to do with the Northwest. We're all in this hall. And Mukete went back to history to analyze the divisions and the disagreements between Southwest and Northwest, and that federation on condition that Southwest and Northwest are not together. Now, when he said this, this was the position that the Southwest brought to dialogue. And the Southwest said, 10-state federation. They were for federation, but 10-state federation. And I want this history to pass very clearly how special status came about. Because of the disagreement that occurred in the hall between Northwest and Southwest. This is how we quarreled in the hall. It was a very big quarrel. Since I am a man of many worlds, I unfortunately found myself between the Northwest parliamentarians and the Southwest parliamentarians. So I was the one who was almost dividing the fight in the hall with Bishop George Nko. This is a reality. So people just come and enter the story in chapter 3.
So moving on, paragraph number 10 for here now from Mr. Pachachi from Iraq. He recalls saying, when the United Nations visiting mission to the Trust territories in West Africa for 1958, it be go for Southern Cameroons in the autumn of 1958, Mr. Endeley and Mr. Mbile, they be state that in the event of their party's victory in the coming elections, there would be no need to consult the people on the subject of integration with Nigeria. But they now said that the Southern Cameroons was not ready for independence and was prepared to agree to the continuance of trusteeship. Make a talk again like
Hi, malokala kalando kandamba karianda zundo mbanongo no. It's all right.
Hey, make a cry like Tapang Ivo, sir.
It's all right. Yeah.
My country people them. You see, now the path from Iraq, it tell una how Endeley and Mbile, they be tell them say, if their party, the KPP and KNC, they win the election, there will be no need for ask the people on the subject of integration with Nigeria. No need. We will just take them, go attach them to Nigeria. We don't even need the people to know or to get their opinions. Okay? But that's not even the part that is touching the heart of my buttocks right now and the buttocks of my heart. The part where they touch the buttocks of my heart. Now this statement, for here, when I read them, when I say, make a pause for 1 second when I read them. It talks, say, now, Endeley and Mbile, they talk, say, the Southern Cameroons was not ready for independence and was prepared to agree to the continuance of trusteeship. Endeley, Mbile, they talk, say, make the continue trusteeship, make the continue colonialism, make the white man continue for rule over we, because we not be capable, we not be ready for be independent. Are these the same kind of people you thought were fighting for the third option? Now them this? Make we be truthful and realistic. Make we not blame United Nations, for heaven's sake. Make we not blame Francophone man. Make we not blame the French. Make we not even blame the British. The problem now we. The problem is us. This is written down in black and white. Now in this way, una read them for ourselves. He asked the petitioner to state the reasons for the change of view. So Mr. Mbile, he responded by saying, Mr. Mbile said his party and that of Mr. Endeley had been successful at the last election, they would have asked the United Nations to grant the territory independence in union with Nigeria on the 1st of October 1960. Owing to their defeat in the election and to the resulting circumstances, they would now prefer to see the plebiscite postponed in order that tempers might be allowed to cool. People, they be the vex. Now, why do we want to postpone the plebiscite? And now we understand why when John Good Foncha corroborate this information. When John Good Foncha, they be asking for 1990, it talks that he know the plebiscite results off by heart. It talk him number by number the plebiscite result will happen for 1961. It be still know for 1990. If you ask me where I chop him yesterday, I don't know. John Good Foncha know the exact number will be vote for Nigeria, the exact number will be vote for Cameroon for 1961. They be asking that question for 1990. It talk him on camera. I don't play one of that video, right? But the important thing, wait the way it talk him, way I pay attention to. Now it talks say,
and at the end of the plebiscite, although the campaign was bigger and it was dictated that it was going to end in a bloodshed,
the campaign for the plebiscite will be very bitter, and it will be predicted. Say the election, the plebiscite itself, it go end in bloodshed. Say people, they go kill each other. The Bakweris, the Southwesterners versus the Northwesterners. This is what John Gofoncha said in 1990 about what happened in 1961. And some of una gong head, una still think say we fit take that Southwest people them, join and with Northwest people them for form two-state federation inside Cameroon and peace a good day. Una the craze. The kind of bloodshed will go happen, it will be unhindered to anything we will don't ever fathom for una life. You understand the grammar? So for paragraph number 12, Mr. Pichachi for Iraq again, he asked the petitioner what his reasons were for objecting to the organization of a plebiscite in the immediate future, in which the second question would be, do you wish to remain under the trusteeship and decide your future at a later date? So the people then for KPP and KNC, Endeley and Mbile, they don't want me to put that question in the plebiscite. Say, do you wish to remain under the trusteeship and decide your future at a later date? They don't want that question. Why? Because I don't really explain it for now. They be say and say, if they put the question for Cameroon straight in that plebiscite result, people, they go fear for vote for join Cameroon and they go vote for join Nigeria instead. Meanwhile, with John Go Foncha, if you want me to put that question inside, me they put the question either join Nigeria or remain under trusteeship for a longer period and then decide the future later. Foncha be one that question, so because be one put Cameroon in the question straight away. While we Endeley and Mbile, they be one for put Cameroon in the question straight away, so that it go shocktalize the people them with the Makiza war will be go on for Cameroon, it go shocktalize them, make them no vote for join Cameroon. You understand? So Mr. Pichachi of Iraq, he observed that Mr. Foncha had not ruled out the possibility of a second question for the plebiscite being worded as follows: do you wish to remain for an indefinite period under the trusteeship system and to decide at a later stage upon your future? Hey, see, come kind words them. So Mr. Endeley and Mr. Mbile, who had previously insisted that the second question should bear on the possibility of a union with Cameroons under French administration, now seem to accept the continuation of trusteeship. So my contributor them, I don't want for waste too much time reading this document. When I fit download them online, when I read them for ourselves. But for this last paragraph, the talk says Sir Andrew Cohen of the United Kingdom asked that the meeting be suspended until 5 p.m. because of the private discussions taking place between Mr. Foncha, the Premier of the Southern Cameroons, and Mr. Endeley, the leader of the opposition, and with a view to reaching an agreement more rapidly. So the British, they ask, say, may they suspend the meeting so that make Endeley and Foncha, they sit down together, see if they feel work out an agreement. This one at the meeting and the agreement way Pa Fongum Goji Dinka it talk about. Saying that the African delegates or the African delegation for United Nations, they be take John Go Foncha for back, take Endeley for back, they drag them for back, they say, when I drink the afofo, we black people, they talk to the white people, they don't get the power for rule we. Now we're supposed to rule ourselves. But instead, we don't come for United Nations here. We're fighting amongst ourselves about who go vote, who no go vote. Should we have a plebiscite or should we not have a plebiscite? Will they join Nigeria or will they join Cameroon? Or the Bakweri Vote for join Nigeria? If they vote, may they join. All of that is nonsense. So the African people, they drag John Go Foncha and Endeley for back. They said, come on, we'll talk first. In the discussions, then, it lead to this agreement. Agreed statement by the Premier of the Southern Cameroons and the leader of the opposition in the Southern Cameroons House of Assembly. So, Mr. Foncha, Premier of the Southern Cameroons, said he was happy to be able to inform the committee that Mr. Endeley, the leader of the opposition, and himself had reached an agreement on the future measures to be taken with a view to facilitating the settlement of the question of the Southern Cameroons. The text of the agreed statement would be distributed to members of the committee forthwith. He thanked the representatives of African states. Now, which they are telling now? Now, which this was telling now? The statement is. He thanked the representatives of African states who were members of the committee for having taken the initiative to organize the informal conversations which had made it possible to reach that compromise. So Mr. Endeley, as leader of the opposition in the Southern Cameroons House of Assembly, associated himself with Mr. Foncha's expressions of thanks and voiced the hope that a solution proposed would facilitate the committee's task. So you see, the committee job not just for find out the future of this territory, and they need the leaders of that territory for buy into that future, for give suggestions, for talk what way them want. But because the leaders they will fight amongst themselves, it make them impossible for the United Nations for deal with that territory. It make them almost impossible for the United Nations for deal with that territory because Endeley be the fight Foncha. You see, I'm saying for the very first time when Foncha it be get agreement with Endeley, the United Nations committee it go with the agreement. So if Endeley and Foncha they be just come for the talk say no, our territory is ripe for independence and 100% independence. That is all we want and that is all we stand for. That's exactly what they would have got. If they were united under one purpose, that's exactly what they would have got. There would have been no nonsense about reunification with Cameroon or integration with Nigeria. That nonsense should never have happened. The only reason it happened was because of the infighting between the Bakweri tribes and the Bamenda tribes, between the forest tribes of the Bakweri, the Bokis, and the Balundos versus the Bamenda tribes. Now, the only reason, so our biggest problem has always been infighting, the Northwest versus Southwest divide. And as I not explained before, Johnny come lately go can lie for una say, na Yaoundé man, na Francophone man, it create Northwest and Southwest for divide the territory for cause infighting. Wrong. Now the British, they be divide that territory into Southern Cameroons and Northern Cameroons. They come now for the Southern Cameroons, they subdivide them into the Bamenda province and the Cameroons province. The Bamenda province it be subdivided into the Bamenda division, the Womb division, and the Nkambe division. The Cameroons province, when as our West region, it be divided into three districts as well, into the Victoria, Kumba, and Manfred districts or divisions. So now the British, they will divide the territory into the Southwest and Northwest divisions. The only thing where Cameroon government do them, they change now the name. They will call them now Cameroons province, now they call them Southwest province. Back in the days, in the 50s, they will call them now the Bamenda province. Today, they call them now Northwest province or Northwest region. Now, they only change that, they change now the name. And for the people, the way they call themselves Ambazonians, ask yourself, why do you have 13 stars in that your so-called amber flag? It is because of the 13 divisions in the Northwest and the Southwest. All of those 13 divisions were a creation of the Cameroon government. But as stupid as una be when I accept them, say Menchum division, Momo, Mezam, Ndonga Mantong, Manyu. Those are all administrative creation by Cameroon government, not even the British. As I don't explain that the British, they will divide the whole of that territory into 6 districts or divisions. Today we get now 13 because now Cameroon government don't subdivide them for administrative purposes. And when I accept the Cameroon government divisions, them the Momo, the Mezam, the Koketunja, the Bui, the Fako, the Ndian, when I accept them as each of the so-called states in so-called Amberland. So when I create a flag, we get 13 stars based on the divisions where Cameroon government make them. But when I no want the Northwest and the Southwest, when even the British they be create them. So my country people, then we don't look at the events the way they happened for 1950s and 1959 before the plebiscite. We know exactly what will be happen for the plebiscite. Now make we look at what will be happen immediately after the plebiscite. We understand that some people they be vote for join Nigeria. Wait will be their reaction. They will just fold their arms, they should run down and accept the plebiscite results, or did they try to fight back for change the result of the plebiscite? This is the part where we will talk about the Bakweri Molongo petitions. You know, these separatists, the so-called Ambazonians, they don't talk about the Bakweri Molongo, and sometimes they talk as if say the Bakweri Molongo will do something will be great, say they will petition against we joining the French Cameroon, all of those things them. Many of those people, the way they ever quote Bakweri Molongo, themselves, they never ever actually see this document. They never ever read what way the Bakweri Molongo, they write them down on paper, why they will object the union or the reunification. So this letter will be received on the 21st of March 1961 at the United Nations Trusteeship Council, one of the main organs of the UN itself. Now the petition this from the Bakweri Molongo concerning the Cameroons under United Kingdom administration. So I don't highlight some important parts for this letter. I'm not going to read the whole full text of the letter, now about 7 or 8 pages and the appendix. I go read now just some of the highlighted parts of the letter or the petition for giving a gist and a clear understanding of the reasons why the Bakweri people them as a tribe, they no be want we for join the Republic of Cameroon. So it addressed this letter to the Secretary General of the United Nations, and then it go on for talk say, the Bakweris started expressing fears of domination by the stranger population attracted to the division by the fertility of its lands and by the employment opportunities offered in the plantations. These fears were expressed to the United Nations through its Trusteeship Council by the Bakweri Land Committee and to the visiting missions by individual petitions presented, both orally and written. Records now with the Trusteeship Council will show that petitions from Bakweris, fully expressive of our fears of domination and vocally outlining the basis of our apprehension for a developing plot by strangers to deprive us of our lands, started reaching there as early as 1946. So the first thing where you get for understand now, where to be the Bakweri Molongo, for the very first paragraph, they explain them for you, they say, the petition of the Bakweri Molongo, a cultural organization which speaks for and represents the entire Bakweri tribe in the Victoria Division of the Southern Cameroons under United Kingdom trusteeship. So what's the way they explain for you and say, the Bakweri people, they don't always they complain about their fears of over domination by what they call them, say, the strangers or the stranger population. Okay, whenever when I hear they talk about strangers, trust me, they're talking about the Graphi people. They're talking about the people from Bamenda Division and the people from Western Region, the Bamblekis. So when I see them, it tell una say this fear of domination, these petitions and these concerns, they don't start being raised since 1946 by the Bakweri people them. So any person who will come Johnny come lately for 2000 and something or 1990 something, can he talk about say na Cameroon government, na francophones, they divide northwest and southwest for create division, divide and rule. Explain for me where it is Bakweri Molongo they will talk about their petitions, the fear of over domination since 1946. The talk say these concerns were raised both orally and they were written down and they were sent to the Trusteeship Council. So for paragraph 3 for here, the Bakweri Molongo, when at that society where they represent all the Bakweri tribes them, they continue for talk say that the fight by the Bakweris against the threat of almost utter extinction which faced them also had a strong local front where the threat of extinction. I hope someone know what it mean by extinction. Extinction means that they go wipe you off the surface of this earth, like dinosaurs, like the dodo bird, extinct, gone, never to resurface. That is the fear of the Bakweris. So this paragraph 5 for here, it also be quite interesting where it talks say, to the best of our knowledge, nothing was known of what the Cameroon Republic had to offer constitutionally before we went to the polls on February the 11th, 1961, thus justifying our contention that the majority of those who voted for the Cameroon Republic did so sentimentally for tribal reasons and in the Victoria Division to spite and overrun the Bakweris. So Eddie talks say the people then for former British Southern Cameroons where they vote for join La République du Cameroon, they be doing so for tribal reasons, and the people the way they inside the Victoria Division where they vote for join French Cameroon, they do so for spite and overrun the Bakweris. For spite means say you do them for provoke them or just deliberately for find palaver for them, and for overrun them where it means say you want for basically defeat them. So paragraph 9 for here, it talks say, we went to the polls on February the 11th and voted solidly for continued association with Nigeria, as the attached analysis of the votes will show. So he attached an appendix, an attachment to this letter, to this petition, and I will show una at the bottom, at the end of this, where it break down how the people them for the Victoria Division they vote for make the point say the Bakweri tribe they be vote now for continued association with Nigeria. Okay, now the point that way it make for day, and then it also talks say we voted this way because we see in the Nigerian Federation a constitutional setup which provides the best safeguards for minority groups like the one we constitute. So they voted to join Nigeria because they know say they be a minority group and they believe say they could be better protected as a part of Nigeria. So their whole point of voting to join Nigeria had nothing to do with the Republic of Cameroon, but everything to do with running away from the Grafi people. That is their contention, the fear of over-domination by the strangers. Ma tell una, and I go show una evidence. Today for 2025, Southwesterners, they still refer to Grafi people, them say strangers. Today for 2025. Anyways, we'll continue. For paragraph 10, the talk say that events that happened before and after the plebiscite, threats and provocative remarks made against us and are still being made, preparations for and perpetration of acts of violence directed against our tribe and political designs, which aim at keeping us out of the local parliament and out of our lands, all go to justify our fears of domination. Everywhere in this letter, you see they are talking about the fear for lose their lands, the fear for be dominated in their own land. Okay, everywhere in this letter, now the petition that way the Bakweri Molongo people they bring them. Paragraph number 11, the talk say that at the plebiscite held on 11th of February 1961, our fears became fully justified in that the threats to domination directed against us by strangers with an eye on landed interests in this division manifested themselves in the pattern of voting. This pattern shows very clearly that this stranger element, which completely excluded Nigerians, but included a very large proportion of persons smuggled into the territory from the Cameroon Republic for the purpose of swelling the bloc vote against association with Nigeria, even though no constitution was offered from the Cameroon Republic, they voted solidly for purposes other than those for which the plebiscite was required. So basically, what we talk now say in the petition, it claims say people they come out from the French Republic, the Bamilekes and other people them, they enter inside Southern Cameroon so can't vote say may they swell the numbers and for make them may the territory vote for join Cameroon. But it want for prove them say the indigenous Bakweri people them they vote now for join Nigeria. And it talks say their fears of over domination be fully justified because say they get threats to domination directed against them by strangers. And then it talk about landed interests. It talk about their land in Victoria Division. It talk about say they feel threatened and they fear over domination. We continue, my country people them. This one when I'm here write them all, I they just read for una the words them where they shoot on down, they write them down, they edit them, and then they prepare the documents and then they release them to the United Nations Secretary General. So paragraph 12, it talks say that since the release of the voting results, we have found enough reasons to believe that we stand the chance of not only being wiped out, in order that our lands may be left at the mercy of selfish and greedy political opportunists, but of even before being wiped out, we will be deprived of those liberties which the United Nations avowedly stands to protect. So for this next statement for here, wait till the Bakweri Molongo the talk now say they could be wiped out so that their land, their property, it could be left to greedy political opportunists, the strangers, the Bamenda people, the Grafi people. And even before they be wiped out, they could be deprived of those liberties which the United Nations protect them. So the Bakweri Molongo continue for talk say there are plans which are now being released to us without the slightest restraint of fear to arrange a distribution of strangers within the territory with a view to settling as many in this division as will make it impossible for a true representative of the interest of our people to enter parliament. Our men, women, and children are being beaten up in the villages without the slightest regard for law and order. Fences enclosing native villages are being cut down to provoke disturbances. Arms are being accumulated to await the day we shall all be massacred. An illegal army is being set up by supporters of the governing political party within our division. Our boys and girls in the civil service are being victimized and ill-treated. So now the Bakweri Molongo, then this way they talk, they complain about what the way the KNDP, because when he talk about the government or the governing political party within our division, it talk because Fako, he talk about Boya, the capital of Southern Cameroon, and KNDP of John Foncha and them be in power at that time. So when he talk about the governing political party, it talk about KNDP. It talk say illegal arms are being set up by supporters of that governing political party within our division. Our boys and girls in the civil service are being victimized and ill-treated. So it accuse na Jongo Foncha, the Grafi people, the Bamenda people of, creating disturbances, intimidating their villagers, and ill-treating the civil service, ill-treating the Bakweri people the way they did inside government, and all of those things. It's nothing new. So whenever when I hear Anglophones they complain about these things from the Francophones, no say the Bakweri, the Southwesterners have been complaining about it from the Northwesterners in the 1950s and 60s. Remember that. So for paragraph 13, the Bakweri Molongo, they talk say, we do not want another Congo here. And that as a people, we request the United Nations to safeguard our right to live as free, unmolested, dignified individuals. We have always encouraged the settlement of strangers within our boundaries. We are not expansionists in our political outlook. Money from the plantations, which have left us with not enough land to allow for subsistence farming, is being used to develop the whole territory, and we have not complained. Today, our lives and property are in danger, and our children are facing the grimmest future that free children in a peaceful community ever had to face. So Eddie talks say the money where Eddie come out from the plantations from CDC, they use them for develop the whole territory of Southern Cameroon, not just the Bakweri tribe. But then the CDC land, it then for their grandpapa, their land. They don't take their grandpapa, their ancestral land, build CDC for them. The CDC, they benefit now all people them for that territory, but them when are the Bakweri people them, they don't even get enough land left, even for subsistence farming. We mean say the people the way they just go plant cocoa for chop, plant beans, cassava, and all of those things. Now they complain that way they complain to the United Nations. So now it asked the General Assembly for note, say the tribal setup in the Southern Cameroons is not homogeneous. It will therefore be a dangerous thing to compel a minority tribe to be part of a political union which is predominated by a larger tribal group which is likely to oppress them. When I hear no, it ask the General Assembly, so that they ask the General Assembly for note, say the tribal setup of the Southern Cameroons, it not be homogeneous. Homogeneous just means say it not be one and the same all throughout. Say they being a minority and they want set a dangerous thing where it go compel, where it means say it go force them when a minority tribe for be part of a political union which is predominated by a larger tribal group which is likely to oppress them. So it talk point blank say the Southwesterners, especially the Bakweri, they don't want any political union with people the way they get a larger tribal group, the Bamenda people them, the Grafi people them, where it be more likely, say those Bamenda people, they go oppress them. This letter, remember, say it be written for 1961, 6 days after the plebiscite. And the United Nations, they archive them for una, for understand una history. The political union between Southwesterners and Northwesterners is a no-go area since 1961, before the union. Una, see, no, where I they bring una the documents them, make una examine them for ourselves. I no make this up, I no write them down. Now them write them. Now United Nations archive them, the secretariat. They write them, send them to the Secretary General through the Trusteeship Council. The archiver, read, understand your history. So for this next paragraph, basically, wait the Bakweri Molongo they talk na say that the request say make the General Assembly it take the mass vote of the indigenous Bakweri of the Victoria divisions at the plebiscite for continued association with Nigeria, may they be respected. So the talk say make the United Nations respect the Bakweri people their wishes for join Nigeria. They don't care whether the other people they want for join Cameroon. If they want to join Cameroon, may they go join. But for the Bakweri people them, it talk say make the General Assembly respect the wish of the Bakweri people them, say they want to join them now Nigeria. So now what did that we talk for point number 2 for here? Say the Victoria division should accordingly be reunited with Nigeria. And then for number 3, it talks say the administering authority should be called upon to open discussions with the Federation of Nigeria to affect the desired union. So for point number 4 for here, it they recommend and request say make oral hearings be given to the Bakweri Molongo when the future of the Southern Cameroons is being debated to argue the petition. So remember, say now February 1961 where it write this letter. And for April 1961, the United Nations issued on down for discuss the future of the Cameroons under British administration. Now for their way, they come up with Resolution 1608. So it is request say when the next time the United Nations General Assembly is sit for discuss the future of that territory, may they give them oral hearing, may they allow them for come give oral presentations for defend this petition at the United Nations for argue this petition, which that way it is request. And then when I see for it and say then when I see at the bottom for it say we are your humble petitioners. And then it go on for list the petitioners them. So one day they write their names them, it not be legible. And then but then this from Victoria Northwest constituency, Victoria Southwest constituency, and then all these people and some of them their names will be legible like Mrs. B. E. Ku. And of course when I see and say right at the bottom for here, when I go see right at the bottom after all of those names them, you get Mr. Peter Lionga, the president of the Bakweri Molongo itself. So it sent copies of this petition to all of these people then where it list them for here. The Secretary of State for the Colonies for London, the Prime Minister of the Federation of Nigeria for Lagos, the High Commissioner for the United Kingdom in Nigeria, Lagos, the Commissioner of the Cameroons in Boya, the United Nations Plebiscite Commissioner for Boya, and the United Kingdom Plebiscite Administrator in Boya. Now official document this and send them to all the right quarters. This document exists. These are historical documents and historical facts. Now make we look at page 7, the appendix where Abitel wanna say they actually give a breakdown. So the title for this appendix now, analysis of votes cast at the plebiscite in Victoria Division. So now say the very first part it do analysis of votes the way they be cast in villages the way now mostly the Bakweri people them they inhabit those communities them small Sopo, Great Sopo, Bonjongo, when I understand. So all of these Lisoka, Moliko 2 and Moya 2 and all of these ones them some of them I don't know how to pronounce the names them, Bota and the rest. So when I see for they say the people the way they vote for Nigeria they be greater. than the people the way they vote for join French Cameroon. In all of these villages, the way they be predominantly Bakweris. When I see the result, right? I give one a typical example for the last two, for Moliko 2 and Moyan 2. For Moliko 2, you get 276 for Nigeria and only 71 for Cameroon, and 299 for Nigeria for Moyan 2, and only 147 for Cameroon. So the point where the Bakweri Molongo did make an activity, say the indigenous Bakweri people them they vote now for join Nigeria. Whereas the people the way they call them say strangers, like the Graphi people them and the people the way they come in from the former French Cameroon, now them vote for join Cameroon. So for part B of this appendix, it gives an analysis of the votes the way they be cast at Bakweri villages, the way they get a large stranger population, like Boya, of course, when a capital of Victoria, where today na Limbe, Bonalikomba, Mutengene, Ikata, Owe, and Tiko. All of these communities, them according to you, they get a large stranger population. In fact, it means say they get a large Graphi people the way they live today and Bambileke them. Now if you see where to wait them be try for prove them, now say they get a larger population where they vote for join Cameroon in those villages them, and a smaller population where they vote for join Nigeria, because this population, these villages them, they get a larger population when are strangers. Now we look at part C of this appendix. So for part C, it do analysis of the votes for the plantations, where it get people mainly where they call them say strangers. Make we see the analysis, the breakdown of the votes. You see I'm say in places that are like Moliwe, like Ekona, you get Bota cities, Tiko cities, Miselele cities, Likomba, E&F, Toleti Estate, Mamu, and all of these areas. Then you see the number of people the way they vote for join Nigeria, very few. But the number of people the way they vote for join French Cameroon or La République du Cameroon, as I call them, it be a lot more. Now the point that way it talk am. So now the end of the document that and at the point that way, the Bakweri Molongo, they be make am say the indigenous Bakweri people them for the villages the way they get mostly the Bakweri dominated populations, they be vote for join Nigeria. And in the villages the way they get a high population of the so-called strangers, they vote for join Cameroon. And for the plantations, then where they get a lot of stranger population, they be vote for join Cameroon. It explain why the Victoria division it be overwhelmingly vote for join Cameroon instead of Nigeria. So it break them down into the tribes, village by village, and looking at the CDC population or the villages the way they've been at CDC plantations and the ones where they be predominated by the strangers, as they call them, the Graphi people them. So now he analysis that for provide them as evidence to the United Nations General Assembly say the Bakweri people they be vote for join Nigeria, and he recommendation he request now say make the General Assembly grant them their wishes for join Nigeria, regardless of what way the overall decision for the plebiscite it be. It want may they divide the territory village by village or tribe by tribe. Any tribe where it be vote for join Nigeria, may they allow them for join, and any other tribe where they be vote for join Cameroon, may they allow them for join. Why? Because the Bakweri people them as a minority group, they fear say they could be over dominated by the Graphi people them where equal them say the strangers. That is the driving force where it be make them the Bakweri people they vote for join Nigeria. My country people them. Just a few days ago, on the 19th of February 2025, I be get a message where some person inside the southwest is sending for me. It talks a countryman, the Kumkum distributors, they don't kill 5 armed terrorists for Bova, Bomboko village, and I ask you for spell them. So it's screenshot where they be discuss inside their WhatsApp group. So if you look at this comment where I highlight them, where I display them on the screen for now, it will give you an idea of what way it go on, the mentality, the orientation of the indigenous Southwesterners. And don't get me wrong, I know they talk this in a bad way for castigate or for blame, and they just want make una understand the true reality of the situation. So when the military enter for that village, it kill Amber terrorists them, and they post the dead body pictures them inside that WhatsApp group. One of the people them, when are the indigenous people them inside that village, he question where he ask them, are they our sons in the land or strangers? Remember this one now 2025. So these things the way I come up for discuss them, where are shown letters from the archives of the United Nations as the Bakweri Molongo, that they refer to the people then from the Northwest as strangers. 2025 are the shown evidence of private conversations then when Southwesterners they talk amongst themselves, they feel free for truly express how they feel. Now here is the truth and the reality, whether you like it or not. The Northwesterners are seen and perceived by the indigenous Southwesterners as strangers, as a people with a different culture, as a people who have come to take over their lands, as a people who have come to over-dominate them even in their own land. These sentiments did not occur overnight. These perceptions and sentiments are not abstract, they are reality. And based on our historical realities, the facts, things the way they don't happen, they have every right for feel the way they feel. Now make we look at the Bakweri Molongo petitions from 1961, where they talk about their fear of over-domination. They don't want strangers for come occupy their lands, take over their jobs, take over their lands, and then systematically wipe them out. That was their fear. They not only talk them amongst themselves inside some stupid WhatsApp group, no. They write them down on paper. They articulate them. They take them to the United Nations. It was public. The whole world knew that this is the fear of the Bakweris. For the plebiscite, they go on for vote for join Nigeria as a desperate way for run away from the over-domination from the Grafi people then. Now what happened? For the plebiscite, the Bakweri people, the losses. Even after the plebiscite where the losses, they go petition and say, I beg una let we join with Nigeria because we don't want the over-domination from the Grafi people then. They beg the United Nations after the plebiscite. Before the plebiscite they complain. During the plebiscite they complain. After the plebiscite they complain. Finally, they don't get choice. They losses for that fight and they join one and indivisible Cameroon. Now they form a new nation come the 1st of October 1961. You want for tell me say John Gufoncha no be know about the sentiments of the Bakweri people then? You want for tell me say ST Muna and all the other KNDP politicians they no be know say the Bakweri people them, the Southwest indigenous people, they get this fear of over domination in their own land? You think say they no be know? Of course they knew. Now why that way? Even for 1990 when they be interview John Gufoncha, it talk say during the plebiscite campaign, the campaign itself it will be very bitter. People they will predict say the plebiscite will end in bloodshed. Now who could fight who? Of course, now only two train of thoughts they exist. You will get the people the way they be want for join Nigeria, the Southwesterners them, the Endeley them, and Bile their side they be want for join Nigeria. And of course, we get the other side, the other opinion of the KNDP, the John Gufoncha, the ST Muna them, where they be want for join Cameroon. Those were the only two opposing forces. So whenever they talk about a potential bloodshed, he was talking about say now the Northwest people they go fight the Southwest people then. This is John Gufoncha saying it in 1990 about what happened in 1959, 1960, 1961 before the plebiscite, right? So they knew that there was this animosity. They knew that the Southwesterners were disgruntled. They knew that the Bakweri people felt as a minority that their rights would be trampled upon. They would be exterminated. It took them for the petition say they will go extinct if they be allowed for join the Bamenda people then, right? They wrote it down on paper. Now, when the federation happened on the 1st of October 1961, did the Northwesterners take this into consideration when they were making political calculations? That is a simple question. Now make an answer and phone. From 1961 to 1972, the 11 years of the federation inside Cameroon, the two top positions the way they will be occupied by people then from the former West Cameroon, it will be now the Prime Minister of West Cameroon or the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Cameroon. In the 11 years of that federation, all of those two positions, they will be occupied by all Northwesterners them. John Go-Foncha himself, he will negotiate both of those positions for himself. So John Go-Foncha will be now both the Vice President of the Federal Republic and the Prime Minister of West Cameroon. Estimuna as well occupied those two positions then. Between 1968 and 1972, at the end of the federation, Estimuna will occupy both of those positions then as the Vice President of the Republic and the Prime Minister of West Cameroon. In those 11 years of the federation, the fears of the Southwesterners were actualized. Instead of the Grafi people them, the Bamenda people them, the KNDP, the John Go-Foncha, the Estimuna them, realizing, understanding the fears of the Bakweri, bringing them in, including them in government, no, they went about doing the exact opposite. They instead grind pepper, put them for their eye. Talk say we be talk say we want for dominate una no, we go show una the true domination. Faced with that reality, why when I think say the Southwest people they go ever want anything for do with the Northwesterners? Now why that way the federal structure it be crumble? Because the Southwesterners them, even though they be vote for join Nigeria, they make alliances with the Francophone government in Yaoundé for dismantle the federation because it no be profit them in any way. They understand they may be a minority, but the vast majority of the natural resources from West Cameroon were in their land. The CDC, palm mole, the deep sea port, and you can name the rest. It then are inside the Southwest people their land, but they be dominated by people the way they come out from the Northwest. So faced with this reality, now why that way the Endeley, the political parties and other people them, they start to align themselves with President Amadou Ahidjo as well in order for gain favors and political appointments and positions them where they will come from Yaoundé. I know some people they will talk, and I don't hear some people they talk say it is so, but the Prime Minister for West Cameroon it will be appointed by Amadou Ahidjo. So you know if we blame KNDP, you know if we blame John Go-Foncha. Are you serious? So you want for convince we say the KNDP, the John Go-Foncha, the Estimuna, they be talk say me President Amadou Ahidjo appoints our Westerner then for be Prime Minister of West Cameroon, but President Amadou Ahidjo deny. He say it go must be a Grafi man. Is that what you want us to believe? No. Listen, if John Go-Foncha or Estimuna, Augustine Gomjua, they be stand, they tell President Amadou Ahidjo, say, listen, we don't serve as the Prime Minister of West Cameroon. Now is the turn of a Southwesterner to serve in that position. President Amadou Ahidjo would have appointed, he would have done that. But the fact now say, even as one of the claims say the position for Prime Minister for West Cameroon it will be appointed, that reality itself was negotiated by John Go-Foncha and President Amadou Ahidjo. If the people then for former Southern Cameroons they be want that position for be an elected position, they would have written it in the federal constitution, but they preferred it to be appointed. Why? Because if not by appointment, then they go guarantee say it go always be a person where they want them, because now the Grafi people they be want go join Cameroon, and when they be vote for the plebiscite they win. So they will get the opportunity now for negotiate everything about the form of state with President Amadou Ahidjo, sidelining the Mbile and Endeley their own side, because now people in that way they be want to go join Nigeria. So most of those negotiations them it will be now only Amadou Ahidjo and John Go-Foncha. If John Go-Foncha it be want that position as Prime Minister of West Cameroon, make it be an elected position, he would have made it so. If force them say they write them into constitution, but it no be want them make it be elected. If you want them make it be appointed, so that they go appoint a ye, because whatever Amadou Ahidjo talk it go become law. It go appoint whoever it go be Prime Minister. It no go by election. Remember say John Go-Foncha ye biggest political rival it been Endeley, and the first time when they contest Endeley win. Remember say Endeley be been the first Prime Minister of the former Southern Cameroons, right? Now, about 1.5 years later, when they get another election, and then John Foncha a win, and he win by a very slim majority. He be win by only 2 votes. It means say Endeley be get 12 representatives for the House, and KNDP they be get 14. And afterwards, one of the parliamentarian, if he cross the carpet, he go join in na Endeley their side. So there will actually be na 13 representatives in the Southern Cameroon's House of Assembly. But because of that dynamic, John Foncha will remain as the Prime Minister, despite the fact say there will be a draw. And faced with this reality, John Foncha be no say, even though he get the population for his side, but the electoral result, it did not prove it. Because Endeley still get a big population where they be support he. So it no be want a situation where they go the fight over position for be the Prime Minister of West Cameroon, because if they put them to the electorate, say me they vote the person where it will be Prime Minister for West Cameroon, there is a big opportunity say Southwest man it go win, just like how Endeley don't win the first time. Now why that way? The political calculation for John Foncha, Estimuna and the KNDP now say make that position it be appointed, because they know say President Amadou Ahidjo it go always favor the Northwesterner, because now Northwest people them they be want for join the union. Southwest people they be make enemies with President Amadou Ahidjo by campaigning to join Nigeria. Now why that? The position of Prime Minister was an appointed one, not elected. And the Northwesterners they go grind pepper, put them for Southwest man eye in the 11 years of the Federation. Now why that way? When President Amadou Ahidjo it see the infighting where it go on in West Cameroon, President Amadou Ahidjo it proposed for them say make them dissolve all those political parties, the KNC, the KNDP, the this, the that, the OK, all those political parties them when I dissolve them so that make we form one big party where all we will be in a executive inside the party, and then we will share power equally in the whole country. So the Southwest politicians them, the Mbile and the Endeley, they be accept this deal for dismantle their political parties them and form one political party inside the whole of Cameroon, because once again there be the fear over domination and the control where the Northwest politicians them they be get them over West Cameroon. So once again, the whole point of this presentation now for we for understand our true history. I know they do this presentation so that make you judge the Southwesterners or judge the Northwesterners. No, I want us for reckon with the past, understand exactly what will be happen, because it will give we the knowledge where we need them for understand what way it happen today, so that we go prepare for the future and we go fit prevent future bloodshed or future calamity. The worst thing where if it ever happened to the Anglophones now for create a 2-state federation inside Cameroon again, it will simply never work. There will be bloodshed. As now here, John Foncha be talking for 1990, say it was predicted that the plebiscite would end in bloodshed. As now see for the documents for the Bakweri Molongo, they write them down in pen and paper. The talk say that they fear, say they could be exterminated. A population where they fear extermination, it means say they be desperate and they could do anything, and they no could ever want to be placed in a position or situation where they could be wiped out, whether not culturally or in population. So the Southwest indigenous people them, they don't make a concerted effort. Over the past 60 to 70 years, that position has not changed. The fear of over domination from the Northwesterners has not changed. We have to reckon with that fact. Make we no ever make mistake. Say we want to go into a 2-state federation inside Cameroon. It will never work. For further reading, I want make una Google the Tombell massacre, because I know some people they go can't talk say countryman, we understand the Southwest people, the fear over domination, and even John Gofoncha himself, we talk, say the plebiscite will end in bloodshed, but we Southwest people them will be peaceful people them. So this thing when they talk, maybe they just try for fighting people them, say may they not go to two-state federation, say the fear of bloodshed. No, ma tell na something. It don't actually happen. No be saying that something where we postulate. No be that something where we presume, say if it happened. Google the Tomball massacre. Between 300 and 500 civilians they will be massacred on the 31st of December 1966. Where the Bakossi people they call them, say the stranger population, the fear of the strangers, the fear of the Graffiti people them, a result in the Tomball, the Bakossi people them rallying themselves and taking weapons from the Cameroon government under President Amadou Ahidjo. They go massacre the Bambeleke people the way they run with the people now. When I remember, say in the 1950s, a lot of the Francophones, them where they would agitate for independence, where they will be under the UPC, they will run enter British Cameroons because they know say French soldiers them and the Cameroonian soldiers they know if enter inside because it's been a different territory at that time. So a lot of these people then from the Bambileke lands and the Doualas, they will enter inside Northwest and Southwest. Now the reason that way you get quite a big population of Bambilekes inside the Northwest and the Southwest. And now one of the reasons in that way, Endeley will talk about the stranger population. It be mean those Bambileke people them and the Northwesterners them, the Graffiti people them. So for 1966, it came to a head where the Bakossi people them, jealous of the fact say the Bambileke did progress, and also because say they accuse the Bambilekes them of promoting and supporting terrorism because of the Maquisard war where it would go on at that time, and because say many of those Maquisards them, the UPC militants where they carried guns for fight against the French and fight against President Amadou Ahidjo government, many of them they be end up for use those guns them for target their own civilians them, for protect some chiefs them, and then do kidnapping for ransoms and just extortion and making money for themselves. Exactly what really happened in the Anglophone zone today, it happened in the 1950s and the 1960s already. Now, why do I tell you say history be important for serve we a lesson so that we feel prevent certain things that may not happen? The reason why we keep repeating our mistakes in Cameroon, especially the Anglophones, now because we don't fail for learn the lessons from history. So these things when they happen in the Anglophone zone today, they don't already happen in the past. The UPC, the Maquisards them, when they be carried guns to a larger extent, they will use those guns them for extortion. They avoid for attack the Cameroon military. They be instead keep the weapons the way they get them, the few guns the way they get them, for fight for positioning themselves, seizing lands, seizing properties, and all of those things them. By 1966, it came to a head when the Bakossi people them for Tomball, they rise up, supported by the Cameroon military under Amadou Ahidjo. They kill between 300 to 500 Bamileke people them in Tomball alone. Google them for yourself. Now, why that way we need for unearth and bring about these realities them, make what people they understand them, because you go back to two-state federation, this is exactly what will happen, and it don't already happen in the past. The Southwest indigenous people, their fear of over-domination by the strangers, the Graffiti people them, that fear is enough for make them desperate enough for carry guns them. So going to so-called Ambazonia or forming any kind of political union between the Graffiti people them and the Sawa people them, the Southwesterners them, it's a disaster that is waiting to happen. My country people them, thank you so much for listening to me this far, and I hope say una go share them with una family members, una friends and colleagues them for work, so that may they also learn our history and understand things the way they be happen in the past. Make we not be too harsh for the judge our forefathers them, but make we try to understand their political calculations them, because they will make those calculations them in their time. Our advantage now say we feel see in the past so that we feel plan a better future. But our forefathers them, they not be get that advantage where we get them. So they will make the political calculations of their time faced with the realities where they be face them. If me I be there in their shoes, I for probably make exactly the same decisions the way they be make them. But we know they in their shoes, things they don't happen, and we go learn from that history so that we don't make the same mistakes where Endeley be make 'em, where John Foncha be make 'em. The sad reality now say, when you look at the mistakes the way Endeley, Foncha, Estimuna, Mbile they be make 'em in the 50s and the 60s, nothing has changed. The reason why Anglophones keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again, now because they never learn from the past. Now because Anglophones they deny the facts of the past. Now because Anglophones they lie to themselves. Now because Anglophones they no want for reckon with the truth. The truth when me they present them to una. Now for help we learn from the past so that we not go repeat our mistakes. If you look at the so-called separatists today, where they say they don't carry guns them for divide Cameroon or for fight for the betterment of Anglophones them, what have they done? They don't instead turn the guns against the Anglophone civilian population. They fight now amongst themselves. They get like 7 different governments and 13 different presidents, and it is all chaotic because we have not learned from our history. The only time where the Anglophones, the people then for the former British Southern Cameroons, they be progress now when they be work together. For example, 1954, when they be withdraw from the Eastern House of Enugu, all parliamentarians from that territory they be there in one accord. They withdraw together. Now why that way they get the leverage for bargain with the British and the Nigerian government for get autonomy for that region? Because they were united. Fon Fongum Gorji Dinka, it don't also talk for this presentation again about an incident where it be happened for United Nations when where the UN it be one for give we a plebiscite. The two people them, the two leaders them, Endeley and Foncha, they agree and they sign one piece of document, pass them to the United Nations General Assembly, and because of that unity, the United Nations it be cancel the plebiscite because we're supposed to get now 2 plebiscites, not 1. And now because of that unity, it be make the first plebiscite for Southern Cameroons it no behold. Because the two leaders they become in one accord, they agree say now the position this way we want them. So you see I'm saying there is evidence from our past. Say whenever Anglophones they unite for one purpose, we achieve whatever we decide for achieve them. Be it the GCE board, the university for Boya, and other fights the way Anglophones they don't fight them. Anglophones they go always win if they be united in purpose. But for as long as Anglophones they be divided, they no go ever succeed.